ஏன் வெளியே வர சொல்றீங்க?
வெளியே வந்த இப்ப கதவை உடைச்சு உள்ள நீங்க வந்திருக்கீங்க. நாங்க உடைச்சதா சீனை கிரியேட் பண்றீங்க. நாங்க உள்ளுக்குள்ள கதவை வச்சு நாங்க எங்க உயிர் பாதுகாப்புக்காக கருவறைக்குள்ள வந்துக்கிறோம். நீங்க தான் வெளியே லாக் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க.
இவ்வளவு பெரிய ஆசிரமத்துல இந்த சின்ன கருவறையில வந்து நாங்க உட்கார்ந்துருக்கோம். அந்த அளவுக்கு எங்களை இது உள்ள தள்ளிட்டு இப்ப வெளியில வா நைட்டு இந்த நேரத்துல
நடுராத்திரி யாருங்க ஐயா உங்களுக்கு நாங்க என்ன சட்டவிரோத செயலையா செஞ்சுட்டோம்? எந்த சட்டவிரோத செயலை செஞ்சுட்டோம்? எங்களுக்கு இந்த நடுராத்திரில வந்து எங்களை இழுத்துன்னு போறதுக்கு வர்றீங்க போலீஸா இருந்தா?
வெளியில வான்னு சொல்றதுக்கு உங்களுக்கு யார் அந்த ரைட்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்கு?
நைட்டு 12:30 மணிக்கு, இந்த இரவு 12:30 மணிக்கு பெண்களுக்கு பாதுகாப்பு இல்லைங்க.
வரவங்க லைட் ஆன் பண்ணிட்டு இல்ல வரணும், எதுக்கு கரண்ட் ஆஃப் பண்ணிட்டு வர்றது? அதான் அவங்க சட்டத்துல இருக்கா?
வெளிச்சம் போட்டு காட்ட முடியாதே எங்களால.
நீங்க என்ன பண்ணாங்கன்னு காமிக்க முடியாத வகையில நீங்க கரண்ட்
ஆஃப் பண்ணிட்டு வந்துட்டு இருக்கீங்க. எல்லா கதவையும் இப்ப நீங்க சீல் பண்ண, நாங்க எல்லாத்தையும் உள்ள பாதுகாப்புக்காக பண்ண ஒவ்வொரு விஷயத்தையும் நீங்க உடைச்சு தூக்கு போட்டுட்டு இருக்கீங்க. பண்றாங்கம்மா கோடாலியை வச்சு உடைச்சிட்டு இருக்காங்கம்மா. ரீப்கட போட்டு வச்சது எல்லாமே எடுத்து தள்ளி போட்டுட்டு இருக்காங்கம்மா. நம்ம பாதுகாப்புக்காக நம்ம பண்ணது. அவங்க எப்படிமா உள்ள வந்தாங்க? கதவு லாக்ல இருந்தது. கதவு லாக்ல உள்ள நாங்க லாக் பண்ண வந்தது. அவங்க எப்படிமா உள்ள வந்தாங்க?
கோடாலி வச்சு உடைச்சாங்களே, சவுண்ட் கேட்கலையா?
இப்ப நாம உடைச்ச மாதிரி இவங்க வந்து நம்மள வந்து யார் உடைச்சதுன்னு கேக்குறாங்க. அப்ப நீங்க உடைச்சதெல்லாம் சவுண்ட் வந்ததெல்லாம் இங்க ரெக்கார்ட் ஆயிருக்குதையா? மக்கள் பார்த்துட்டு தான் இருக்கிறாங்க. யார் உடைச்சாங்க, என்ன நடக்குதுன்றது இந்த நிமிஷமும் பார்த்துட்டு தான் இருக்கிறாங்க.
காக்கி சட்டை போட்டுக்கிட்டு பாதுகாக்க வேண்டிய உலகத்தை
காக்கி சட்டையில குண்டாசா வரீங்க. காக்கி சட்டத்தை சட்ட பாதுகாவலனா இல்ல, மக்கள் பொது பாதுகாவலனா இல்ல.
எங்களுக்கு போலீஸ்ன்றதே சந்தேகமா இருக்கு. குண்டாசு தான் இந்த மாதிரி உடைய உடுத்திட்டு வந்துக்கிறாங்களோன்னு எங்களுக்கு சந்தேகமா இருக்கு.
நம்ம இப்படி பேசின உடனே டோராண்ட போயிட்டு இருக்காங்க. ஆக்சுவலி ஒவ்வொரு டோரையும் உடைச்சு விட்டாங்க.
Your screen, use these hashtags. Take a few minutes and voice out. Your voice matters. Understand, just a small group of us are not enough. We need to unite. Hindus, at least now it's time for us to wake up from being criminally negligent. Here, the ancient indigenous traditions, ancient indigenous communities are under attack. So it is a very important, crucial time for all of us to unite, for us to come together so that we do not repeat the same mistakes we have done in the past. Our unity right now is very, very important.
Once again, we request all the viewers and all the various leaders who are actually watching us live on the various social media platforms. As we can see, we are having a lot of support that is coming in through the live streams as well. We'd like to thank each and every one of you who are coming in support of Kailasa and voicing out your opinion, your support actively, publicly for every one of us. We'd like to take this opportunity to tell all the viewers who are there, all the indigenous organizations in the communities, the Latin American countries or the African countries or the various other countries around the world, we would like to request every one of you, let us stand together as indigenous brothers and sisters and fight for what is ours. Let's not back off in this persecution that we have been going through, despite the way it is being narrated and portrayed that Kailasa is trying to attack and Kailasa is trying to take over the indigenous communities, whereas on the ground all of you know what exactly is going on. So we'd like to thank all the indigenous communities, the various Hindu organizations, the various Hindu leaders who are actively voicing out their support publicly as well. And we'd like to request all the Rajya Sabha members, all the Chit Sabha members, all the other members of Parliament of Kailasa, all the devotees, and everyone else, the well-wishers of Kailasa, to take this time and opportunity. Go ahead, voice your opinion, voice what do you feel, and voice what is right on the Twitter. Use the hashtag that is being projected for every one of you. Hashtag Hindu Lives Matter, hashtag Justice for Hindus, hashtag Kailasa Indigenous Nation. We request every one of you to go ahead and reach out to all the various international human rights, the active watchdogs who are there in terms of the media, to keep the facts in place. So we request all of you to do it. Once again, I want to reiterate that even as we are speaking now, we still do not know what is going on with our brothers and sister monks who are there in Bolivia, who are stuck, who have been taken at gunpoint. We still have not been able to get a clear mapping of what's going on, which is still in a very difficult situation. Our lawyers have filed the required cases that are there, and we are still trying to get in contact with them, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. We need each and every one of you to reach out to as many people as possible. Reach out to all the influential people that you know, to all the power centers, the decision makers who are there, to bring justice to Hindus, to bring justice for Kailasa.
I'm also seeing a message here from Madeline Portuguese in YouTube. She's from Italy. She has posted, "Are we engaging lawyers on the ground to try to get our monks released?" Yes, Ma. Actually, we have multiple attorneys who are there trying to fight for justice on ground. We even had yesterday in our live stream itself, we had the one of the attorneys, Senor Abigail, Mr. Miguel, who had come here, and he had also voiced out what's happening there is completely unconstitutional and how it violates the fundamental human rights. And we are actually continuously working with so many attorneys somehow to get our monks released. And our monks were only doing service over there. And in fact, the indigenous people to whom our monks were serving, they all are also actually coming and trying to protect them. That is why the kidnap was done away from these indigenous people. Kidnappers were outsiders. These kidnappers were not the local indigenous community people at all. No. Our monks, especially when our male monks, they were trying to go get some basic supplies to continue doing the free food distribution, the annadan that they have been doing. When they went to get the few supplies and they were getting into the boat, which was slightly away from these indigenous communities, that is when this kidnap has happened. And we are indeed really concerned right now as we are not aware, are they okay? Because we already saw some clips which the media channels had posted of our monks fainting, our monks being held at gunpoint. So this is a situation that we are facing right now. So it is getting very, very, very serious. Till now, our attorneys were not even let to see the monks who are there on ground. So this is the kind of situation that we are being faced with. And it is so important that all of us stand together in unity and we voice out. Every one of your share, every one of your uh, voices matter. And I just want to also add, we also had some of our Kailasa members. We in fact have some people who are pregnant, who is there, and she's not able to even get access to water. She's not able to have access to food, water. This is the situation. We are really concerned. There are children who have been kidnapped, a pregnant lady, and they did not give her food. They did not give children food. Not, it's the kind of attack that is happening is just completely violating every basic human right as per all international laws. We really need your support. We really need each one of you to voice out on all these atrocities that are happening right now. It is so important for us to realize this. the way how the indigenous nations have been so warmly welcoming us and continuously they are standing up supporting us. It is time now for all of us globally to unite together and voice.
Yes, and I would also like to add that these nuns and monks, the pregnant lady, they've not been given food and water, not just for a few hours, but for hours and hours continuously all together. They've not given any water, they've not been given any food, and some of our people have even fainted because of not being able to drink water when the indigenous people on ground were trying to help our nuns and monks. So now I would also like to address the next false allegations that the media, again, the very important to reiterate, the Hindu music, racist, anti-indigenous media are trying to project. So these racist media, such as Ana Bolivia, Awaska, Noticias, Vision 360, Infobe, they are falsely saying, putting false allegations that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism of 2 billion Hindus worldwide, is wanted by Indian authorities for rape, for sexual assault, for kidnapping, for forgery, for fraud, for cryptocurrency-based money schemes and whatnot. So these are absolutely false allegations that these racist Hindu music media are propagating. And I would just request the audience here to please, know the facts, know how the persecution has happened on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and what all ways the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa have been persecuted. And this persecution has been attested by various international human rights lawyers, and there are court documents, legal court documents that clearly mention that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is innocent. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has never ever been convicted of any crimes. And just to give you context of how much of persecution the Supreme Pontiff has gone through, and despite that, he's continuously been just enriching, giving to humanity, just expanding the mission and vision of Kailasa just for the sake of global peace. So there's been over 70 assassination attempts on the life of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. There's been over 250 sexual assaults on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, on his monks, on his nuns and disciples. And there's been over 120 legal false cases on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And let me reiterate here that despite the huge amount of legal cases, false legal cases on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has never ever been convicted of any crimes. And there's been over 17,000 hours of online media content defaming the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Kailasa, hate speech, inciting violence on Kailasa and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, as well as over 25,000 print articles in over 50 countries. So it is very important that the audience here take note of these facts so that you can bring awareness and bring accountability to these anti-Hindu, racist, anti-indigenous media. And just one thing is, this persecution has also been published by the United Nations, where it is in a very detailed way. The persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa are clearly stated in the reports that the United Nations have published, with all the facts, with all the court documents, with all the reports from the international human rights lawyers. So please take time to go through these UN reports so that you can educate yourself with these facts, so that again bringing awareness and bringing accountability to these media channels.
Actually, that's a very important point for all of us to know, because this persecution of Kailasa, persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, has already been recognized by the United Nations, and United Nations has already published over 20 detailing out this whole persecution what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been through. And not just that, this false allegation of a false rape case that this articles are defaming the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism with is an absolute lie, because already these false charges were clearly proven as false, and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was proven innocent in the US court. And not just that, the perpetrators of this false allegations, who tried to levy these false allegations on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, were fined with over $500,000 US dollars. So this is the actual truth, which the media does not want you to see. The Hindu-phobic, Hindu-music elements do not want you to see. Understand, this court order had come so many years back. Still, even after the United Nations itself has published all these in their reports, 22 reports, UN themselves have published, clearly showing how Swamiji has been persecuted, how Kailasa has been persecuted. And for first time in the history, Hindu Holocaust had become an international subject of discussion, because Swamiji had taken this to the international platform, the United Nations. So when we have such clear proofs, evidences, 22 reports from United Nations, yet the media, the Hindu-phobic, Hindu music media, does not want you to see these facts. That is the reason they are spreading these hate.
And another thing that I wanted to add in over here is that along with the UN reports, there are also various international human rights lawyers, very well-known lawyers such as Mr. Jeffrey Robertson, who is a King's Counsel and a former jurist in the United Nations Justice Council, Ms. Maliha Wilson, who served as an Assistant Deputy Attorney General of the Government of Ontario for 8 years, Mr. David Matas, Mr. Jeff Wills, Mr. Mark Workson, Ms. Maria Dolores, and Ms. Gabrielle Ovedo, as well as various international human rights advocates such as the Mission of the Human Rights, the Mission Scalabrinia, and Mr. Carlos Reyes, and all of them given their legal opinions that is summarizing the persecution that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been facing. And as mentioned earlier, these rape charges were already closed over 10 years back in the United States. And as per the very international of the internationals, such as the doctrines of judicata, it is very clearly that once the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been exonerated by the competent US court, as judicata, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism should not face re-litigation of the same issues by the same false accusers in any subsequent proceedings. And you know what? Not just here, the double jeopardy additionally protects the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for the same thing twice. But the same false allegations, the same false accusers are being litigated in India, invoking vexatious litigation and abuse of the court processes. They have been running away, they have been escaping from the Indian court as well, the Indian judicial system as well, trying to evade any kind of the prosecution that has to go forward. And harboring this, the anti-media, the anti-Hindu media, the deep state, the Hindu-music, Hindu-phobic, racist media has just been trying to exploit all of this and continues to defame the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism at multiple different levels.
And I would like to add here, see, these Hindu music, racist media, that is how they started this whole persecution on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, inciting hate and violence, and ultimately leading to the illegal arrest of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. For 53 days, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was put in jail in horrible conditions. He was tortured in numerous ways, and he was even denied. He was actually denied food. He was given beef to eat. Can you imagine that? As the Supreme Pontiff of 2 billion Hindus, these deep state elements were trying to force fed the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism beef, and also denying him the right to worship. And I would like to actually quote the High Court here. See, these forced arrests, these illegal arrests of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism happened because the media claimed that the Supreme had raped a certain woman, but there was no rape victim. They could not find any victim. And here the High Court of Karnataka has clearly stated in its order, and it says that, however, it is not a matter for the court to discuss, since the issue was subsidized by the media by telecasting the incident, and a question mark is created amongst the public as regard to the image of a sannyasi or Swamiji. And see, I would like to mention what is the meaning of subsidize here. Subsidize means, as per the Oxford Dictionary, to basically give subsidy, or to subsidize means to give or contribute a sum of money to support some industry or business to keep the price of its product or service low. So here the court has clearly mentioned that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is innocent. There's no rape victim. Despite this, just because the media propagated false allegations on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, he was put in jail for 53 days and tortured, deprived of his religious and human rights, just because of false propaganda by the media.
And it's very important for us to note these points, because it is this Hindu music media channels that are trying to even now spread these lies, false news, trying to incite mass hatred. This is actually exactly the pattern of how a Holocaust is happening. Right now, we are actually witnessing a Holocaust happening, and we are all seeing how this is being executed. It is happening right now in front of us. This is what is exactly called as a big lie, where the lie is repeated so many times, again and again and again, where at a point the mass starts believing the lie to be the truth. And this is the same strategy that was used even in the Jewish Holocaust, which is what is being used even in the Hindu Holocaust. And right now, the indigenous nations are also facing the same thing. It is very important for all of us to wake up to this, see this. Why are these facts hidden from us? Please take a moment. You have the right to ask this. How can these facts, where clear evidences are being there, United Nations has published this in their reports, how is the media channels who are supposed to be doing their research and presenting the right information denying us of any of these facts? Take a moment, go to Twitter, tag all these media channels, ask them this. You have a right to ask, because you have a right to know this. And you have the power to stop this genocide. You have the power to stop this persecution right now. Take a moment, please share this on all your social media handles.
Let's also look at the facts additionally to what we have been listening to and understanding. And when we look at these false accusers, it was Aarti Rao and Vinay Bharadwaj who had accused the Supreme Pontiff of Rape in the year 2010. When we look at the stats and facts here, please understand that the initial false charges that were filed came to only 8 years later. Please understand, only 8 years later, the charges even came to court and they are still being adjudicated. Please understand, till date, there has been no conviction. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has not been convicted because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is innocent. And what has been going on is over 15 years of malicious prosecution. Now, the same thing, when we look at it in the USA, against this same people, Aarti Rao and Vinay Bharadwaj, 4 federal and state US courts absolved the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism of all charges. The false accusers were subjected to legal sanctions, including imprisonment and monetary fines exceeding 6 million US dollars. Please understand, 6 million US dollars they were fined for pertaining to defamation, malicious prosecution, and related offenses. In just 1 year, all the baseless claims of rape were dismissed by the Ohio court. The police declined to register any case, citing a lack of merit in the claims. And Vinay Bharadwaj, who was as well, tried to file a civil case which was dismissed in 2 years. And due to the false rape accuser's repeated contempt of court, the Michigan court has issued a contempt of court order and 2 bench warrants of arrest of the false rape accuser for her failure to follow the court order, her mandatory appearance at her deposition. Similarly, the Californian court imposed a judgment against the false accuser for her continued contempt of court and failure to comply with the mandatory deposition requirements. Now, all of this is publicly available records, but none of this is spoken by the Hindu-phobic, Hindu-mesic, anti-Hindu media that is there. Why? Because if they tell this, all their narratives will go to vain. That is the reason that nobody wants to bring in about these things. But for all the viewers and all the racist media that have been perpetrating false information about Kailasa everywhere, you can go in and check all of this as a matter of fact with the evidences, with the court rulings that are available publicly for record.
And one more very important thing to note is 11 medical experts from Ohio, California, Michigan, Canada, and India, after reviewing the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's medical reports, concluded that Swamiji's inherent medical condition renders him physically incapable of committing any sort of rape. Additionally, verifiable strong evidence provides the proof of a false rape accusation. That is why till now, none of these claims, these false allegations have ever been proved. And the US court has already exonerated Swamiji. After someone is exonerated, meaning someone has after Swamiji has been proven innocent, how are these anti-Hindu, Hindu-phobic media channels posing this false accusations on Swamiji and killing Swamiji? This is not an attack just on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, not an attack just on Kailasa, not even just on Hindus. This has grown too large. This persecution is against the ancient nations, the indigenous nations itself.
And for all the fake, false, racist, anti-Hindu and Hindu-phobic, anti-indigenous media channels out there, you can go and verify the facts of every single thing that we are speaking here. It is all publicly available for all of you. Head over to kailasa.org and you can find the references for each and everything that we are quoting here. What we are speaking here are the facts, which is supposed to be the very fundamentals and ethics of journalism that you have all been very well violating time and again. And it has been proven in your historical track record, whether it is hiding the actual problems that the indigenous communities, even in Bolivia, have been facing over the last entire decade, how you have only been using utilizing all of those for your viewership to gain and exploit the people around, the indigenous communities around, for what you want, never actually presenting the facts. So for a change, go over to kailasa.org, look at the facts and present the details as is.
And the next false allegations that these anti-indigenous Hinduistic, Hinduphobic media have been circulating around is that Kailasa has purchased land illegally and leasing land illegally from these indigenous communities, and that too through deceptive agreements. And this is once again completely false. Kailasa has not purchased any land from these indigenous communities. We've done everything as per the law of the country. And these documents, these agreements have been notarized, have been apostilled. And it is also mentioned in the treaty that there's a clause in the treaty that clearly says that the transfer of payment shall be effectuated upon the completion of the following legal requirements, which are the transfer of land to Kailasa's title upon the completion of a formal survey, a comprehensive topographical assessment, the satisfaction of all applicable legal framework, and the ratification of the treaty by the government of Bolivia. So whatever is being done is according to the government laws. And here Kailasa is only looking to serve the community by establishing ourselves there. We are only trying to serve the local indigenous community. And you will see so many of them are so grateful that Kailasa is able to bring its services to them. See, as per the law of Kailasa, as per which is based on Hindu law, the Manuvadi Dharma Shastra, all the basic necessities of life, such as food, shelter, clothing, education, healthcare, should all be provided for free. And Kailasa is not only providing these free services to its citizens, but also to all the indigenous communities so that they become empowered. And so these indigenous communities are very grateful to Kailasa that they are free service, free education, free university degrees, free healthcare. And so once again, requesting all the viewers here to please take note of these facts and to clearly become aware of how the media, and see, this is a very systematic way of that the media is using to persecute indigenous communities, indigenous nations, by just propagating false news to the extent that the mass starts believing it, and so it becomes the truth, it becomes reality, but in fact it is not. So now it is up to us, it is our responsibility to share the fact as it is widely, so that the fact is established as truth, not the lies.
And there have also been these false reports that are coming through, which says communities like Bore, Kayubaba, Eseha, Kichwa, Varani, and Achuar are expressing rejections and outrage, declaring the agreements null and void. First of all, I want to tell it is just these anti-indigenous media which is trying to use, which is trying to exploit the opposite again. And we have audio recordings of the indigenous leaders who are there, and they themselves are declaring very clearly that they are outraged by what the media is doing. Please understand, not by what Kailasa is, but they are outraged against what the media is projecting, how the media is projecting what they are telling. And this also came out in a couple of articles ahead, but then has been pulled off. And even that was twisted and told that the indigenous people are threatening the media. Oh, really? Come on. There is a limit to all of this, where they are being held at gunpoint. The indigenous communities are held at gunpoint at the same time. They are being threatened for their life, and the media misrepresents, misinterprets that they are against Kailasa, and they have actually declared null and void any of the agreements that have been signed with Kailasa. Once again, this is an outrageous lie, and there is no proof or evidence for any of this other than being perpetrated by one or two people, which are again paid and bought by the false anti-Hindu racist media. You never actually get to see the public opinion on the ground. You never actually get to see the local indigenous opinion on the ground. It is always just taken by one or two people and try to portray as if the entire indigenous community is against by them, and then hold the rest at the gunpoint and try to spread false agendas, false narratives continuously. This is precisely what we are looking at here today. If you just go into a couple of articles, you will see how the media is completely being bashed by the indigenous leaders with whom Kailasa has signed the humanitarian agreements and has been continuously, consistently providing the humanitarian aid, whether it's in terms of food, whether it's in terms of shelter, whether it's in terms of clothing. In every aspect, Kailasa has only been supporting, empowering these indigenous traditions, indigenous nations that are there, and Kailasa will continue to do so despite any persecution, any attacks that are there on Kailasa. We will continue to voice our support. We will continue to stand for the rights of the indigenous and fight for what is lawfully ours.
And I would like to address an abusive comment here by Vedant. Here he's saying in Hindi, he's saying that भारत छोड़कर भागा है, वापस आने की हिम्मत नहीं है उसमें. So basically it translates to he meaning the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has run away from India and he doesn't have the courage here to come back. No, Vedant, no. You should not put false comments without knowing the facts. And the facts, once again, are clearly available online. Legal documents are available. And this particular thing has been addressed by the United Nations also. The United Nations has published several reports to show how he, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, was forced to leave his birth country. He did not run away. He was forced to leave his birth country because he was constantly under attack. Constantly Hindu music, anti-Hindu elements, deep state elements were trying to kill the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And judging by your name Vedant here, I'm assuming you are a born Hindu. So at least you should be aware of the persecution that is happening to Hinduism. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the only being who has taken the courage to establish the United States of Kailasa, which is the only Hindu nation for the Hindus, so they can practice their religion without any persecution. And if you do not know, there used to be 56 Hindu countries, even at the time of Mahabharata. Because of invasions, because of persecution, because of colonizations, Hindus have lost all their homeland. They have lost political legitimacy. They have lost religious legitimacy. They have lost a spiritual legitimacy. And just for the sake of Hindus, not for his sake, he has established the United States of Kailasa for Hindus like you to be able to practice Hinduism without any persecution. So without doing the fact checking, which is widely available on the internet, on the UN website. I request you to please do not propagate lies and incite even more violence on Kailasa and on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
And I also want to add a point over here. See, this is what is the problem right now at this crucial time where Hindus are facing this attack, where we as Hindus are going through this persecution and we are facing such an attack. We are here having some of the born Hindus coming and attacking us. Come on, this is a time for all of us to stand together. We need to stand up together and voice out what the truth is.
See, in fact, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was illegally exiled into statelessness. That is the international term for it. He was exiled into statelessness by denial of his natural passport. Even though that was against Indian court orders, his passport was revoked and was not renewed despite Indian court orders. So he was forced to leave India. He did not flee India. He was forced to leave India because of these deep state anti-Hindu elements. So it is very, very important to know the facts. And all these court documents are available in the reports that are published by the United Nations. So, of course, you can get these court documents on the official websites as well.
And I request all the members who are watching us live, let us make sure that we are reaching out to all the relevant authorities, because even as we speak, once again, I want to reiterate that even as we speak, our monks and our nuns are still in a state where we do not understand, we do not know what is going on with them, and they have been continuously attacked and they have been continuously persecuted. And our lawyers are continuously trying to get in contact with them and are trying to help them get out of the current situation they are in. They are in grave danger, and we do not know what is going on with them. We request every one of you who are there to reach out to all the regional authorities in Bolivia, in US, in UK, in whichever country that you are in, demanding justice for the Hindus, demanding justice for the monks and nuns of Kailasa. This is how systematically the very persecution itself is hidden away from us and is reworded and is perpetrated, trying to show that it is the Hindus who are trying to claim fake that they are being attacked. Whether it was during the attack in India, whether it is the attack in Pakistan, whether it is the attack in Bangladesh, the anti-Hindu, racist, and Hindu-phobic, Hindu-mesic media try to show as if there has been no attack and the Hindus are just trying to bring false claims and trying to show that they are suffering, which is exactly at here in an international scale as well, where when the indigenous people on the ground are facing persecution, are facing human rights violation, and when Kailasa as the indigenous nation is supporting the other indigenous nations, our brothers and sisters, the the anti-indigenous media is trying to attack the communities which are there. So we are looking at that exactly now. And also at the same time, there are the various parts where it says that we are withdrawing from the indigenous communities. No, Kailasa is not withdrawing from any of these communities, and at the same time, we are continuing to stand with the indigenous communities, the indigenous nations in Bolivia and in the various parts of the world, continuing to advocate for the rights of Kailasa and the rights of each and every one of those indigenous communities. And as mentioned earlier, these communities, we have been continuously receiving written statements and communications from the leaders of these indigenous nations in support of Kailasa, in support of what Kailasa has been doing, has done, and that they would be standing strong with Kailasa. So we will continue to work along with the indigenous people, supporting them, helping them, and give them what is rightfully theirs.
And the next false statement that these racist anti-indigenous media is propagating is that Kailasa's interest is in the indigenous land, and it is linked to exploiting green funds and climate finance under the pretext of conservation and environmental protection. And they are saying that these agreements can lead to neo-colonial exploitation and violate the principles of self-determination. See, I'm laughing here because they're accusing Kailasa of neo-colonial exploitation. When Kailasa itself is a victim of colonization. And it is very important here to tell a little bit about the persecution, about the effects that Hindus have been going through for the last 700 years, even actually going before that, because that is not taught to history. And that is why that is not taught in the history books in schools. And that is why these media, these racist anti-Hindu media are able to propagate lies. Because you Hindus do not know your own story. You do not know your own history, how your ancestors suffered, were tortured, were massacred. And the Hindu genocide is actually one of the most tragic and overlooked in the human history. It is actually much larger, at least 100 times larger than the Jewish Holocaust. In the Jewish Holocaust, about 110 million Jews were massacred. But in the Hindu Holocaust, over 500 million Hindus were massacred. And the statistics are even more alarming. We've actually lost over 80 million of our Hindu scriptures. There have been at least 11 fabricated famines that were imposed on Hindus that resulted in the death of 160 million Hindus. And more than 4 million Hindus were also enslaved. And we've lost millions, 1 million Hindu educational institutions, universities, the first ever universities such as Nalanda, where people, not just from the Hindu faith, from all over the world were coming and receiving education. So all of that have been destroyed. And we've also lost 56 Hindu nations, Hindu lands that covered more than 6 million square kilometers across Asia. So Hindus are indigenous. Hindus are indigenous to so many countries, not only to India, but even if you look at Afghanistan, Hindus are in Afghanistan. But what is the state right now? Not even 0.1% of Hindu remains, because they are killed just because they are Hindus, and they are driven away. If you look at Pakistan.
And that's the same case if you see even with Bangladesh, because the capital of Bangladesh is Dhaka, which is named after Dhakeshwari, which is the main temple of Devi Parashakti in there. And still, so which was a Hindu nation. but Hindus have been subject to forced exodus. We Hindus understand actually right now only a small fraction of these indigenous Hindu traditions endure, with all the Hindu sovereign lands having been unlawfully annexed, leading to forced mass exodus of indigenous Hindus. This is exemplified by the tragic situation in Jammu Kashmir, which was inhabited by the Hindu civilization since 13400 BCE. Between 1989 and 300 to 800,000 Kashmiri Hindus were emptied out of Kashmir Valley during the exodus after violent, brutal attacks and threats. From 800,000 today, barely 3,000 to 5,000 Hindus are only left to survive in this valley.
And did you know that Hinduism lacks formal recognition as a religion in over 66 countries? And there's no country other than Kailasa that has Hinduism as the state religion. Whereas there are so many countries that has Islam and so many countries that has Christianity as the state religion, but not a single country until the creation of until the revival of Kailasa that has Hinduism as the state religion. And that is because we have our indigenous land. And here to accuse Kailasa of neo-colonialism is actually very laughable. So once again, these racist, anti-Hindu media elements should do their fact-checking, because that's going to not bring credibility to their own media channels. And again, it is up to us, the viewers here, to share these facts and bring accountability to these media channels so that they don't keep on propagating lies about indigenous communities, about Kailasa, about the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, whose only aim is to unite all indigenous nations and empower all indigenous nations, and giving these indigenous nations a voice at the international platform, at the United Ancient Nations.
And another thing that I also wanted to address over here is the fake information and news that Kailasa is actually trying to use the carbon markets and trying to climate finance. This is another absolutely perpetrated and absolutely illogical accusation that has been placed on Kailasa. Even if you look at the very agreements that have been signed, as it has been published by a couple of the media houses which are there, and even there, they actually perpetually don't show parts of these in those agreements. They very conveniently remove those parts away and only publish different things. Now, in those agreements itself, it is very clear that Kailasa has no interest in any of these. Kailasa will be keeping the entire, whether it is the forest, whether it is the nature, preserved as is. As per the very laws and constitution of Kailasa, it is very clear and evident that no trees will be cut, no animals will be harmed. When we are having this as the very fundamental of our very tradition, our very state, please understand that this is exactly what is there even in the agreements that we have signed, that we will protect the nature, that we will protect the environment, that we will support. And very clearly again we speak about the carbon credits or the climate finance, that we will not be using any of those as well. So when these are all out there in the same agreement, why all of that does not come out, rather being twisted and trying to show as if Kailasa is trying to gain benefits through climate finance and carbon markets? No, that again is an lie that is being perpetrated by this anti-indigenous media. Why are they doing it? Because they can then exploit. Now when Kailasa comes in, naturally all of these markets cannot be exploited. They will not be able to attack and exploit the indigenous nations, the indigenous people out there, and try to exploit and loot the indigenous people are the protectors of the tradition. of the forest, what we call as Pachamama, they are the protectors of these large forests and nature that is there, that is being exploited left, right, and center by these anti-indigenous people in terms of deforesting, in terms of much of illegal activity goes on, and the indigenous, local indigenous brothers and sisters receive no help. Forget help, they are actively targeted, exploited, and pushed into phases of life where even if they try to voice their rights, they will be shown the path of death. That is exactly what they're going through. And these are all the words not from me, but from the indigenous peoples out there. Look up online and you can see all of these from various international watch dogs, human rights watchdog groups which are there. So go ahead and you can see all of this as a fact for yourself. So once again, I want to make it very clear and clarify, Kailasa has no interest. Kailasa will not be involving in any climate financing or carbon markets. Kailasa is very clear. We are there only to support the indigenous, to protect what rightfully belongs to there, to protect the nature, to protect the forest from the exploitation of the deep state and the anti-indigenous media, anti-indigenous people, Hindu phobic and Hindu media.
Been receiving so many of your messages. Many of you have been asking since yesterday as to why we are being targeted. Why is it that Kailasa is facing this attack right now? And it's not just in one place, as we have been mentioning. It's in multiple locations this is happening. Right now, we are facing this persecution and attack in multiple places near Bolivia, within Bolivia, and we're also at the same time we are facing even in Rajapalayam, Setur, in so many different locations. At the same time, our monks have been targeted and attacked. So why are we facing this? Mainly because Swamiji has empowered the indigenous people, indigenous communities, and these indigenous nations are getting a voice. And this is proving to be too powerful that this force right now, as we shared with all of you, the 100+ names of the indigenous nations that have already united with Kailas. Now, when all of us are coming together, and many of these looting and many kind of illegal activities that the other anti-indigenous elements are doing are being stopped, because they're seeing these persecutions the indigenous people are facing are now being voiced out. That's the reason why Kailasa is being targeted and attacked, because they know if these indigenous people are being empowered, then all these things, the illegal activities many of the racist elements are doing is going to come to light. That is the main reason why we are being targeted, why we are being attacked. And especially because so many indigenous leaders, presidents of the indigenous communities, indigenous nations are all standing and showing their solidarity and support to us. This is the issue that we are, this is the reason why we are facing this. And we also encourage all the viewers that are watching us live right now, take a moment, post any questions that you have, whatever doubts you're having or questions that you're having about what we are sharing right now, because this is too for all of us to understand, to know the facts, and to spread the right information to people. Take a moment and please share this. And as we are speaking till now, we have not been able to reach our monks. We are very concerned about what their status. There are pregnant women who have been denied of food and water by these racist anti-Hindu elements, and we do not know what's going on with them. It's so heartbreaking to see the situation that we are in right now. This is what is happening right now. So we request all of you to come together and share this video, share the right narrative, and post any questions that you have in the live chat. Actually, one important point that I wanted to bring up, Ma Vijaypriya, the way how the indigenous nations have now started being so empowered, right? This is threatening many of the anti-indigenous communities because they're seeing clearly there is a voice that is coming out. It's so loud because they have seen historically, Swamiji has proven that despite so many attacks, 70 plus direct life assassination attempts on Swamiji, and numerous for 20 plus years defamation campaign has been run on Swamiji. Despite all of this, Swamiji is the only person in the whole human history to establish a nation in the most peaceful, non-violent way without a single bloodshed happening. A nation for Hindus has been established. So they know the power that Swamiji is having. They know what Swamiji can do and has already started doing. This is why these anti-Hindu forces, Hindu music forces are getting threatened as to, oh my God, now their power over the indigenous people are going to be lost. That is the reason why the attack is happening.
Yes, absolutely. And it is unprecedented that that a nation is established through peace. There's not been any war, there's not been any conflict. Here, Kailasa is the only nation that has been re-established through peace only. So, yes, the amount of see, the Swamiji has basically done what nobody else could do, re-established the Hindu nations. So many people have tried, so many enlightened masters also have tried, but so only Swamiji has been able to revive the ancient enlightened Hindu civilizational nation that is Kailasa. And these deep state elements know the power of Swamiji. They know he is established in Sanatan Hindu Dharma on the principles of Sanatan Hindu Dharma that is so powerful that can just, bring, that can just, how do I say, that can just, inspire people to basically claim back their sovereignty, to claim back what they have lost at the hand of colonizers, at the hands of invaders. And one more thing is that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Swamiji, is teaching the Hindu population of their past history. When we are not taught about this anywhere, we are not taught about this in the school, we are not taught about this in the history books. In fact, the history books are distorted. For example, Hinduism, as we all know, is the most ancient religion. We have unbroken records, for over 20,000 years. But Hinduism is much more older than that. But there are so many false narratives that are coming that, the word Hindu has been coined very recently, right? By the Aryans and whatnot. That even the Vedas have been, recently created. But all of that are so false because, see, we don't know about the real Hinduism, the authentic Hinduism, because even our scriptures have been purposely mistranslated by colonizers, by Hindu music colonizers. So Hindus don't know their past, and we are not even given the platform, the opportunity. Even if we want to go and learn, we cannot do that because there's nowhere we can find proper information. But here, Swamiji is reviving all this history and all the ancient Hindu scriptures, authentically educating Hindus and story of Hinduism. Because see, one more thing that these colonizers did to Hindus was to instill inferiority in Hindus, claiming that Hinduism is back forward, it is based on superstitions and whatnot, but that is completely false. Before these colonizers, before these invaders, we used to be the richest. Hindus alone contributed to more than 40% of the world's GDP. We are the cause for so many inventions, so many discoveries. Hinduism is the reason why the entire humanity is benefiting from all these sciences today, whether be it chemistry, whether be it mathematics, whether be it the invention of zero and whatnot, whatever it is. But even that is not taught to Hindus. Even the first surgeon was a Hindu saint, a Hindu rishi. That is not taught to Hindus, right? So the Supreme Pontiff is reviving and educating Hindus, and also Kailasa is the first to advocate for the rights of Hindus at international platforms such as the United Nations. Before that, nobody cared to speak about the persecution that Hindus have gone through and still going on.
Absolutely. Actually, I'm seeing some questions are coming in the live stream. I'm seeing Ma Anand Parashakti Yogini, Ma Madeline Portuguese is asking, how many monks in Bolivia are missing? Ma Anand Parashakti Yogini, we have around 20 monks who are missing right now. They have been kidnapped by the Hindu-phobic elements, and we are not being able to get in touch with any of them. We do not know their state right now. We don't know if they are safe, if everything is well with them. We have no idea. And I'm also seeing she has asked, can the embassies of our monks in Bolivia intervene on their behalf? Absolutely, yes. And we need, you're asking because we mentioned there are of different nationalities. Yes, we can reach out to all these embassies. You can reach out to the embassy, the various embassies that are there in Bolivia itself. We have also been trying all these means from our side, but we also request all of you, the viewers, also to reach out to all these embassies, and you can post your questions to them. You can share this whole thing that is happening right now. You can share this information with them. You can share all the details to them, write to them. We already had some of the Rajya Sabha members, many of the Kailasa many people already writing to these embassies, and that is also proving effective because we have started getting their responses. So it is it will be helpful if all of us reach out to these embassies as well. Let us do all that we can. We need to save the lives of our Hindu monk sisters, Hindu monk brothers that are there right now. So I request all of you, yes, we can share with you the further details. I see you asking questions about their details. We can share with you, but it's around 20 of them who are right now kidnapped. And you can write this first and send it to the embassies. You can reach out to them. You can even go to the Twitter and share this information, tagging all the prominent leaders, influencers there, so that we can save our Hindu brothers and sisters.
In fact, we do have the 20 of our monks and volunteers who are from various different backgrounds, various different countries, whether it's the US, the Europe. We have people from various of these countries who are there, who just came there for the one and only purpose of serving the indigenous people who are there on the ground. And another thing that I wanted to mention here is for all the viewers who are watching us live, the facts in today's world, time has developed so well that everything can be checked as a matter of fact with AI. If you go over and look up on the hypocrisy of the media that is trying to project false narratives against Kailasa and the indigenous peoples there, you will understand very clearly how they have been playing. And also, the media in Bolivia is heavily funded by the European agencies which are there. When we look at the indigenous population in Bolivia, more than 40 percentage, as per the census, more than 40 percentage is actually indigenous. But if you look at pro-indigenous media, it is less than 4%. Now, what does this translate into? This very straightforward translates into the monopoly of the colonizers continuing to overshadow the rights of the indigenous. That is the matter of fact. And you don't need to believe my words for this. You can go over. You have the various chatbots that are available, whether it is ChatGPT, whether it is Grok, whether it is Gemini, whether it is Claude. Go ahead and check the facts for yourself in all of these various AI platforms which are there. They are not going to lie. They have been trained on millions and millions, billions of articles, data that has been there throughout the entire history. Today, whatever exists, literally, quite literally, whatever exists as data is fed and trained into these AI, and they give the facts as is. So, if you go and see for yourself, you will understand how these media houses, the racist, anti indigenous media houses, which claim to be supporters of the indigenous people out there, are just absolute liars and are trying to exploit yet another opportunity that they are getting so that they can benefit with their viewership and make more money.
I'm also seeing a message from Durjati. She's posted, just wanted to know, I was able to get a response from the US Embassy without having to know or use names of individual devotees. If you just say Kailasa, they will know what you're talking about. Thank you so much, Ma Durjati, and all the others who are continuously we are receiving a lot of support from the Hindu diaspora around the world. We really appreciate all of your support, and we thank each one of you who are taking your effort to actually reach out to the embassies, to actually reach out to the influencers, to actually reach out to the decision makers. When we do this together, we can make a difference. Each one of our voices have power. Mahasada was asking, what do the embassies based in Bolivia say about the people who are currently in the temple for the nationals of each of the countries concerned? Is it possible to contact them? You can contact them. You can contact the US embassy or the European embassies. You can contact any of them and reach out to them and explain about the situation. And we are also doing it. The information is available in the public. So take a moment and get the details and reach out to them.
And we have here also Ma Nithya Durgananda, who is saying, how can such violence happen to the sannyasis of Kailasa? Stop such atrocities. And that is the sad reality that Hindus are going through. Understand? This is just the continuation of the Hindu Holocaust that Hindus have been ongoing for several centuries. And now it is us who need to educate ourselves. The level of persecution, the level of atrocities, torture our ancestors went through. To what extent? See, literally, both the hardware and the software of Hinduism have been destroyed by the invaders and the colonizers. Our Hindu scriptures were mistranslated purposefully. They were burnt. We've lost over 80 million Hindu scriptures. Our infrastructure were destroyed left and right. And Hindus have been made to forget about the Hindu Holocaust. And even now, we Hindus are suffering from the atrocities we've gone through. So what our sannyasis are going through right now, it is only a persecution, but we need to stop that. And how do we stop that? Is by raising awareness, becoming active, becoming responsible Hindus, dropping the criminal negligence, and enriching and causing Hindus about Hinduism, I mean, not just Hindus, enriching and causing the entire world about the utility value of Hinduism. Hinduism has so much to offer to the world. It has the solutions to whatever problem, issue that the world is facing right now. And these are not newly created solutions. These solutions are rooted in the scriptures of Hinduism, in the Vedas and Agamas. Paramashiva has given all these solutions to what the world is going through right now. And it is only because humanity has deviated from the cosmic principle that we are suffering today. We have deviated from our roots. And that is why also Swamiji, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, has revived Kailasa, so that these ancient Hindu indigenous sciences, knowledge, and let me say advanced sciences, advanced technologies can be revived for the entire world to benefit from. Because if these Hindu principles are revived, that is what is actually going to lead to global peace. And here, Kailasa is not here to convert anyone. There's no conversion. We are only here to enrich the whole humanity, awakening their entire potential. And that is what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing. And that is what deep state elements do not want. See, what is the basic teaching of Swamiji? Is that to show that we are God. He doesn't say that he is God. He's here to teach us that we are God, we are divine. And when we understand that, that is going to awaken the highest potential in us. And that is what the deep state elements do not want. They do not want indigenous communities. So it is up to us, up to Hindus now, to bring the persecution of Hindus of Kailasa and enrich and cause people about the utility value of Hinduism and what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing for the entire humanity, not just for Hindus, and what all he's gone through, the worst persecution anyone can go through in history, in the entire history of humanity. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has gone through the worst persecution just for the sake of bringing global peace.
I'm also seeing Mom, Madeline, and a few of you who are for the nationalities of people. You can contact the US Embassy, Canada Embassy, Switzerland embassies, and inform them of this, because these are predominantly the people who are right now being kidnapped in Bolivia. So you can reach out to all these nationality embassies. You can reach out to them to save. Reach out to them and tell them as Kailasa, they will understand. So you can tell them and we can get justice and save our Hindu system.
Also a question that has been put forth by Gebashi Hosseini. When Kailasa made agreements with the indigenous community, was a security and safety agreement to protect Kailasa's followers and the monks and nuns from any attacks? If so, and has violated, who is responsible for it? Will Kailasa withdraw from Bolivia after these attacks? So first things first, I want to make it very clear, Gebashe, is that Kailasa will continue to offer its humanitarian services to all the indigenous nations, all the indigenous communities, to all the indigenous people all around the world, including in Bolivia, despite the persecution that we have been going through. And I want to also make it clear that the very people with whom we had signed the humanitarian agreements is so that we provide them with services, and they themselves are being threatened at gunpoint. That is what I'm telling. And if you look at the statistics, whether it's Eldeber or these various media sources which are there, that they are pro-indigenous, are actually anti-indigenous. They just try and exploit the opportunities that they get to use in their favor, in their political agenda, and so on. So what we are looking at here is not just attack on Kailasa. It is an attack on all the indigenous nations and communities and the people in Bolivia. That is what we are looking at. So what we are looking at is not just the compromise of Kailasa's officials, Kailasa's delegates, Kailasa's monks and nuns. Same way, even the indigenous people have been enforced. People have been at one point. In fact, even yesterday, when we looked at the actual life that was going on there, while our male sannyasis, male monks, were dragged literally to the center of the entire city, there the whole thing was orchestrated, where there were fireworks that are going on one side, the alarms ringing on the other side, helicopters arriving. It was a whole well planned situation that was there in motion. So when we look at all of these things, it's very, very evident that what is happening is very clear. It is for various agendas, political and anti-indigenous agendas, that the conversions or the attacks, the persecution is going on. So we will, to summarize the answer, we will continue to support the indigenous people in Bolivia, and we are working actively not just to protect ourselves but to protect the indigenous people there as well. And that is where we need each and every one of your support, and every one of your voice matters. We request every one of you to go as widely as possible with as many authorities as possible, and tag, whether it's in Twitter, whether it's on other social media platforms, reach out to all the decision makers, important decision makers, so that this is brought forward and the due attention is given, and the indigenous and Kailasa receive their rights.
And we have a comment from Gebache Hosseini saying, when Kailasa made agreements with the indigenous communities, so I would just like to reiterate here that, see, these agreements, yes, and we will actually project the clause also, and I'll just wait for that to be projected so you can all see the treaty, that the actual real treaty that has been signed by these indigenous nation, and which is completely false to what Hindu music racist media are saying. Yes. So, see, if you look at the treaty, there's a clause that very clearly says that the payment will be effectuated after ratification. So what does ratification mean? So we will see. See, it says that and it is highlighted here in yellow, the transfer of payment shall be effectuated upon the completion of the following legal requirements: the transfer of land to Kailasa's title upon the completion of a formal survey, a comprehensive topographical assessment, the satisfaction of all applicable legal frameworks, and the ratification of the treaty by the government of Bolivia. So the ratification means that the government of Bolivia has to accept the treaty that is signed by these indigenous nations. And so this clause ensures that all transactions are conducted with the full consent and ratification of the respective governments in strict adherence to international law and respect for their national sovereignty. So once again, see, our monks here, our nuns and monks there have been illegally, wrongfully detained despite Kailasa following all the legal procedures as per Bolivian laws, and we also got these documents notarized and apostilled also. So one very, very important point for all of the viewers here to take note that despite Kailasa doing everything as per local laws, as per Bolivian laws, as per international laws, our nuns and monks are being persecuted. They've been kidnapped. And they faced so much of human rights violations and so many religious rights violations.
And the most important point that I want to highlight here is that right now, like, we are literally not able to do anything. How is it fair that the fundamental right, even as per the international law, which is you having the right to access your lawyer, a legal representative for yourself, is a fundamental right enshrined in the international law. Even that is being denied. Like, the lawyers on ground are not able to get in touch with them. The only information we are getting to know is from the press and media. And that also some small clippings here and there where we are suddenly seeing that our Hindu monk sister is being pushed into the car forcefully, and suddenly we are seeing them all being detained illegally. So this is the kind of visuals which are coming in the press and media channels, and we are not able to do anything about it, even knowing this much information. So it's very, very, very critical situation right now. And that is why all of us coming together and voicing out together matters a lot right now. And I'm requesting you all, take a few minutes, share this YouTube live video that you're watching in all the groups that you have. Reach out to your friends, reach out to everyone. Understand, this is an attack on indigenous people. This is an attack that is happening. You have the power right now in your hands to stop this attack. It is only just a few clicks away. Take a few minutes, share this, help us amplify our voices, help us amplify the truth so that at least some can get to know what is the real that are happening. The anti-Hindu mafia gang is having too many powerful voices. They are suppressing us, silencing us. If we, as Hindus, do not actively come together, unite together, then we will not be able to make the change. You have the power. You just need to get right now on the Twitter, share this, share these facts on your tweets. And please share this live YouTube video in all the platforms that you have, and let us reach out this truth to the world. This persecution has to stop. This Hindu genocide has to stop.
Once again, for all the viewers who are watching us live, we also request every one of you to reach out to all of these media houses that are perpetrating hatred, perpetrating false allegations and false news about Kailasa and the indigenous nations, and reach out to every one of them and make each and every one of them accountable for all the lies that they are spreading. We have one of the questions from Ma Mahasadashivananda. She's asking, have the media specializing in human rights been warned? Yes, Ma, we have already filed. We are filing defamation and for inciting hate against all of these media channels that are there. We are going to be filing defamation. We have already started. We are not going to be bending down. We are not going to budge because of that going on. We are going to stand and bring justice to all the indigenous brothers and sisters and the Kailasas monks who have been tortured, who have been going through persecution since the last many days now. So we will be actively working. We also request all of you to also voice your opinions, voice what you think about this, Go to their media pages, whether it's on the Facebook, whether it's on YouTube. Go and put the facts of the case, put the facts of the accusations that they are putting, and let's make each and every one of them accountable to the persecution that they have been consistently doing against all the indigenous people.
And I would like to add also here that we've already started sending cease and desist orders to these media articles, to these media houses. And you can also write to these media houses and, you know, basically informing them and giving them, once again, very important to give them the facts to their lies. So requesting all of you also to please, you know, go and, you know, go email these media houses. You can easily find their contact information online, and please address each of these false allegations that they have put on Kailasa, on the Supreme Pontiff.
And if people who are watching us live, if you have any of the doubts, if you have any comments that you want to make, please post your questions and feel free to ask questions. We will be here to answer. And we also request all of you who are voicing your support, we also request every one of you to post the same in Spanish as well, to all of these false news allegations that are being perpetrated by the racist anti-indigenous media houses that are there in Bolivia. So we request every one of you to go ahead to each and every one of their pages and reply to them, demanding justice for Kailasa, demanding justice for all the indigenous nations. Please take a few minutes to do that, to share this information with as many people as possible as well.
And I would, you know, when these deep state elements raided our Adinam, our place in Bolivia, they did not even identify themselves. First of all, they did not even give any orders, any court orders for breaking in our personal, our private property. They just barged in, multiple men barging in a female-only Adinam place and just taking them away, violating their rights, not allowing them legal representation, not even allowing our lawyers to talk to them. That is completely against any kind of, even let alone international law, even local laws. And in any country, that is the basic right that one has when they are detained, is a right to a lawyer. They were denied even the right to legal representation and even the right to contact their embassies or consulate. Their passports were taken away illegally. Their devices were taken away. They were completely cut off from the outside world. We were not able to reach out to them at all. And we did not know where they've taken them. So it is very important to also mention these human rights and religious rights violations that are in violation not just to international law, but to Bolivian laws as well, to these media channels, and how these media channels are themselves violating so many laws, be it Bolivian laws, be it international laws, be it in of human religious laws that they are violating, and be it violating their own ethics, their own ethics to journalism. So we are going to be showing all of you a video of how these deep state element just illegally broke into the private residence of our nuns and monks. And it is completely horrifying to see what these nuns, these women, these girls, and some of them, they were even pregnant, what they had to endure just because they wanted to serve the local indigenous community, nothing else.
And even the violence that was faced by the male monks and the male sannyasis who were there, whether they were humiliated publicly, whether they were left in the scorching sun, whether they were manhandled, whether they were literally thrashed to the point of fainting, or they were threatened at the gunpoint, all levels of torture, whether it is physical, mental, and even the psychological torture that they were put through continuously is just unfathomable. And despite all of this, even till now, we have not received, they have not been given access to the lawyers, and we still do not know what is going on the ground. As we mentioned earlier, the only sources of information that we are getting is through the media that is there on the ground. We ourselves do not have contact, not able to establish contact with them still, and only based on what is coming out in the media locally that is being covered, that is how we are able to try and understand what is going on the ground right now. So the situation is only escalating. We request every one of your support, all of you are watching, and there are also various temples and other Hindu organizations. Have the temples from Argentina, the Hindu organization and leaders from Argentina who are supporting us. Thank you very much. And once again, we'd like to request every one of you also, let us stand in solidarity together. Let us reach out to as many people as possible, bringing to justice what the persecution that we have been going through. Not just denying the persecution, but continuing to add to it actively and manipulating it and showing it. This is exactly what we are facing today.
And we have MahaParamashivoham, who is saying, please share which media outlets so we know to whom to reach out. Yes, thank you so much, MahaParamashivoham, for taking the initiative and reaching out to these media outlets. I will read out the names of all the media outlets that have published false accusations about Kailasa. So these are Ana Bolivia, Awasqua, El Mundo, Ahora El Pueblo, Opinión Tinformas, Observatorio de Derechos de los Pueblos Indígenas, El Deber, ABC, Vision 360, Noticias Infobe. So we can also post that for all of you to know what are the media channels.
Actually, as we are talking, we are just getting more, trying to track what's happening with our Hindu monk sisters. I have a small visual to just to show to all of you right now what is going on. It's so horrifying to see there are pregnant children and female sannyasis there, and this is the way they have been getting.
This is Bolivia immigration. They took our phone. They took our phone and they put the gas coming our room. There's no human right in Bolivia. There's no human right in Bolivia. Bolivia immigration violate the human rights. You cannot touch us. Hey, don't tell us. So these people hold the gas, come in our house and yes, with gun and take our tickets. No, the immigration staff take our phone. Bolivia immigration, this is Bolivia immigration. This is Bolivia immigration. They took our phone. They took our phone and they put the gas coming our room. There's no human right in Bolivia. There's no human right in Bolivia.
This is what is happening right now as we talk. Just hearing it, I'm literally having tears in my eyes. I don't know how to. This is what is happening to our sister monks. They're struggling over there. We don't know who these people are. They are not even showing their IDs. They do not have an arrest warrant. They do not even have a police complaint. We don't know who these people are. They're harassing our monks. And this is happening in multiple locations at the same time. It is time now for all of us to reach out. This is atrocious, atrocious. As we are in the situation that is right now, we need to stop this. We do not know. They are literally being manhandled, beaten, abused, all for just serving the people there. This is going too much. We really, really, really request all of you, write in Spanish, reach out to the government of Bolivia, reach out to the embassies over there, share it on all your social media platforms. It will not work out even just a few hundred of us doing this. Need to reach out to the world. This is too important. We really, really request that every single one of you that are here with us, please kindly take a minute right now, share this, invite your friends, family, everyone. What is happening is a crime against humanity. This needs to stop. You have the power to stop it. Needs to stop. Nithyananda is asking, saying that she suggests that we send letters to the media that protect human rights. The thousands of us send these letters, and the embassies of nationals of countries concerned make. Absolutely, yes, Ma. You can send. Please take a minute. And we also request all those who are watching us live right now, please reach out to all the human rights activists, human rights media channels that you know, everyone that you know. This is very, very, very important. You're seeing, you can literally, this is the situation that is happening right now. This has to stop. This has to stop. This racism has to end. This is racist. This is Hindu-phobic, Hindu-mesic, racist elements. And they are here to stop the indigenous nations from being empowered. Please take a minute now. We want to save our Hindu monk sisters. We want to reach out to them. We do not even know what is this.
So these people hold the gas, come in our house and yes, with gun and take our tickets. No, the immigration staff take our phone. Bolivia immigration, this is Bolivia immigration. This is Bolivia immigration. They took our phone. They took our phone and they put the gas coming our room. There's no human right in Bolivia. There's no human right in Bolivia. Bolivia immigration violate the human rights. Hey, don't
This is the current situation that is happening. This is a very serious situation that is happening right now. And this only visuals that we are able to get from what from different media channel sources we are trying, we are not able to access them. It is too important, too important for all of us to unify right now. Actually, Ma Vijay, just seeing this is so disturbing for me because these are our own sister moms whom we speak to, whom we see serving, selflessly serving people for taking Swamiji's mission to the world. And it's so painful to see them being literally manhandled and abused like this. They're being so violently handled. Their passports have been taken away. We do not even know who these people are. That's the biggest thing. They have till now not even shown their IDs. We don't know who these people are. We do not know which department they are coming from, or actually are they even officials or not. This is the current situation, and we are not able to get in touch. Our lawyers are not being allowed inside, and the situation is getting worse. And Mavijay, actually, right now, as we are talking, there are many of the children that are trapped inside. This is just too much. Like, I'm just not able to come to terms with what's happening in front of us right now.
Yes, Ma, this is absolutely terrifying. I also do not have the words, I cannot put in words what they are going through. It is absolutely terrible. And it is very important to note here in this video that these people who barged in, they were armed. They were armed against innocent women, innocent children, pregnant women. And what for? Right? I mean, they've not committed any crime. They are innocent. They only went there to serve. They've left behind their lives, their comforts, their jobs, just to come to Bolivia and serve the people of Bolivia. And for that, they are being treated like worse than animals. They are being manhandled. They are being tortured. And this is absolute, I do not have the words for that. It is absolutely terrifying seeing how they were raising their hands, trying to protect them against these armed people, racist people, anti-indigenous people. And again, they've not been given their belonging sports. Their devices were just illegally taken away. Their belongings were just displayed out to the public. And they faced humiliation for just wanting to serve the people of Bolivia. And this is extremely serious. That the persecution that indigenous people, including Kailasa, has been going through. When is it going to stop? When will the media stop propagating false information, disinformation, lies, without doing any fact checking, without even wanting to know the counter story, or wanting to know both sides of the coins? When are they going
so
to?
painful, Ma. Actually, just to see, like, I'm not able to get over seeing this video because it's so painful to see. You can literally hear them scream. They're screaming that they're grabbing our women, manhandling them. They were having guns. You can hear these in their screams. Our monks are non-violent, absolutely non-violent. We all have taken up the vow of ahimsa. This is, I'm not able to terms with this. I don't know, especially children over there. I don't know what mental state they would be in right now, given this kind of harassment, especially the pregnant lady over there. It's just too painful. And I'm going to play it again.
Bolivia immigration, violent human rights. You cannot touch us. Hey, don't tell us. So these people hold the gun, come in our house and yes, with gun and search our cities. So the immigration staff take our phone. Hey, don't tell us. So these people hold the gun, come in our house and yes, with gun and search our cities. So the immigration staff take our phone. Bolivia immigration, this is Bolivia immigration. This is Bolivia immigration. They took our phone. They took our phone and they holding the gun, come in our room. There's no human right in Bolivia. There's no human right in Bolivia. Bolivia immigration,
This is just
violent human.
we are not able to even get in touch with them. I'm like, each time I'm seeing this, I'm only getting scared as to, I don't know their condition right now. What is going on? What is happening? What how can this happen now? Can it's so blatantly happening right now. This is not even being shown anywhere. This is the situation that our monks are facing right now. They really, really, really need to be saved. I'm just not able to even cognize how can they do this? What are they doing? What is going on? This attack, it's just so violent. The attacks that they are faced with right now. You can see the phones are being grabbed. You can see that how they're literally beating them up. All of the women sannyasis, and there are women Kailasa, there are pregnant women, children. All of them are being attacked. This really, really, really needs to stop. I'm literally choking if I'm seeing this. This is what is actually happening. We request all of you, please do whatever you can and reach out. We need them back. We need to save their lives. This cannot be happening. Their lives are at stake right now. They're being denied of their passports, their phones. They're being denied of food and water. It's been so hours. We are not being able to get in touch with them. It is getting very, very, very serious. Situation is already out of control. Please, please take a minute, share this. Please share this video and please share what horrifying thing is happening right now. This has to stop. There has to be an end put to this happening right now. What are we talking about? Human rights. What are we talking about? The rights to protect people when the fundamental rights are being violated like this. We don't know where our Hindu monk brothers and sisters are. They're kidnapped, they've been missing. Until now, we are not being able to get in touch with them. The Hindu-phobic elements are attacking like anything. Oh, Hindus, understand, unless we unite right now, we cannot change this. Genocide is happening in front of the humans are being violated in front of you. You have your power just at your fingertip. Please take a minute and share. Tell this to every Hindu. Please reach out to as many people as possible. It is too important for us to reach out right now. It is very important for us to amplify our voices, voicing out the truth to all the decision makers. This has to stop. We need to put a full stop to this. It's very important that we work together. As I'm talking, this is not an attack that is only happening in one location. This is happening in multiple locations. You can go check out the channel right now. As we are talking to you, go channel right now in the YouTube. Go check out on the shorts. We are showing to you what is happening at the same time in Kailasa Bharat, in Kailasa Rajapalayam, in Salem. It's it, it's too horrifying. What is happening in Rajapalayam and Setur is horrifying. What's happening in Bolivia is horrifying. It's happening. All of these are happening at the same time. We really need this to stop. We need to put a full stop to.
And I would like to also read out the comment of MahaParamashivoham, who is saying that suggested that we send letters to the media that protect human rights, that thousands of us send these letters, and that the embassies of the nationals of the countries concerned make. Absolutely, MahaParamashivoham. See, this attack is happening. You're seeing how our nuns and monks are being manhandled, persecuted. It is only because of the incite, of the hate speech of the media, of the violence that the media is inciting. So it is extremely important that all of you here send letters, emails to these media. We are extremely concerned for our nuns and monks. We do not know how they are doing. They are in illegal detention. They are being held illegally. None of their rights, human rights, religious rights are being respected, to the extent of not even water is being given, not even food is being given. So it is extremely urgent, important that all of you please draft letters, emails to these media channels. And it is very easy to do that with the help of AI. You can just give a prompt to the AI. This is what you want to write about. This is what is happening. And this is the response I want to give to this media channel called XYZ. And the AI will just give you will just draft the email for you. And of course, you can customize as you want. But it is so easy now with the AI. Within minutes, you can draft various versions of emails. So requesting all of you once again, please write to these media channels, media houses, hold them accountable of their actions, of the lies that they are spreading, which is leading to the state of our nuns and monks are in right now, which is absolutely unnecessary, not required. They only went there to serve the people.
Actually, it's very important. I want to highlight what are the services that are being done. Actually, Ma Vijay, if you could also share a little more on these services, because the kind of services that we as Kailasa have been doing for the indigenous nations, which of course they are extremely grateful for. I just wanted to request you if you could share what are the different services that we have been doing, and how has the response been so far from these indigenous communities for the services that we have been doing?
Yes. See, the services that Kailasa is bringing to these indigenous communities is what they have requested from Kailasa, because they are facing difficulties, they are facing issues, their lands are not developed, they are underdeveloped, and they are even facing issues such as not even having clean water to drink, let alone proper education, educational centers, nothing. So Kailasa is here to help them develop their communities, provide free education to them, which is what we do. We've actually already given free education to more than 20 million people globally. We have the Nithyananda Hindu University, which is the largest Hindu university, completely free of cost. These pictures, Ma Tadvapriya, how happy these kids look, these people look. They are so happy with the services of Kailasa. They are so happy doing yoga, being taught yoga and doing yoga. You can actually see the joy Why is the world silent? Haven't seen any other media posting all this cruel thing. The media
Actually,
will not go. Mhm.
Sorry. Actually, one thing, Ma Nithya Arunachala, I just wanted to share this. The Hinduphobic media is not going to tell you these truths. That is why it's important for us to share these. You can see here visually we are showing you the evidences we are showing you. You're asking who's behind this. There are deep state elements who are directly behind this attack. These deep state racist Hinduphobic elements who are attacking us, especially because Swamiji has created United Ancient Nation. This United Ancient Nations is a beautiful IGO that Swamiji has formed, where, like how the United Nations, all the nations come together, and the member states come together and they pass resolution. Similarly, the United Ancient Nations has been established with over 100 indigenous nations, and their voices have started being empowered, and now realizing the potential that this has. And we have historically, you have seen the way how Swamiji intensely does work, sacrificing everything of himself. He just goes on sharing, 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 and continuously contributing to humanity. Seeing that some of these anti-indigenous, racist, terrorist mafia gang is behind this, and they are the ones, those deep state elements are the ones who are attacking us right now. Like, we do not even know who are the people who are coming. They wear a uniform and come, but they do not show you an ID. They're harassing, like I just showed you. I'm going to play that video again so all of us can see. This is the current state of our Hindu monk system.
They took our phone and they put the gas coming our room. There's no human right in Bolivia. There's no human right in Bolivia. Bolivia immigration violate the human rights. You cannot hey, don't tell us. So these people hold the gun, come in our house and yes, with gun and touch our cities. No, the immigration staff take our phone. This is Bolivia immigration. This is Bolivia immigration. They took our phone. They took our phone and they put the gas coming our room. There's no human right in Bolivia. There's no human right in Bolivia. Bolivia immigration violate the human rights. You cannot hey, don't tell us. So these people hold the gun, come in our house and with gun and touch our cities.
You can literally hear how they're being beaten, screaming. This is what is happening. Actually, we are trying to somehow get in contact with these people. We do not know what's going on with them. We are getting very disturbing visuals. We are constantly getting so many disturbing visuals of what's happening with our sisters over there. And one of the pregnant ladies are there. Children are there. We do not know what is going on with them. We actually got a picture from one of our sisters who are there, whose hands you can very clearly see how we are still trying to get in touch with all of them. We are not able to get, other than a few visuals here and there that we are collecting from various sources. This is really, really, really horrifying. This is too disturbing that, as you can see, you can clearly see the marks. This is how they're beating them up. This has to stop. This has to stop. You can see here, the photo that I'm showing you right now is the attack that our people there in Bolivia right now facing. Please share this with everyone. This attack has to stop. We need to save our sisters. We need to save them. This is the price that we get for just serving people. Is this what humanity has to give back just for serving people? It's so painful. It is really, really, really painful. All those who are seeing this right now understand this is what we are saying as the Hindu Holocaust happening right now. Actually, any of the viewers that are here with us, if you want to, if you have any questions, you can post it here. Any doubts you want to clarify, please post it here. We will answer you. MahaParamashivoham Yogini is posting, Ma Durjati got a response from the US Embassy in La Paz saying that as they understand it, the individuals have been put on flights home. Is that even true? They did not seem sure. No, we are the monks are being detained illegally. We do not even know who these people are. They were kidnapped. We do not even know their location right now because they were kidnapped. We don't even know who these kidnappers are. And we are trying all the best possible ways. We are not able to reach them. As I'm talking to you right now, we are having so many people reaching out to different officials. We are not able to, we do not know their current situation. We don't know what's happening with them. This is the truth. This is what is the actual truth happening right now. They have not been sent back home. No. You can see here, this what I'm showing you now is what is the visual we just got. As I'm showing it to you right now. We are trying our best to get in touch with them. We are not able to. We have not been successful in getting in touch with them. All we are seeing is what you just saw. See here, what is going on? Oh my God. Is this what we get back just for serving people? So, MahaParamashivoham, just to clarify to you, that is not the truth. You can very clearly see here being able to reach our monk sisters. They are still struggling over there. We do not know their current situation. We do not know what's happening with them. And they have been beaten. They have been abused like this. It's horrifying. Targeted and attacked just because of serving the indigenous communities. This is what is happening right now. So please do write back, Ma Durjati, write back to the embassy from wherever you got the response. Write back to them, send them this video, send them all these details, and tell them clearly that we have still not been able to get in touch with our sister monks. Please tell them this. Share the video that is there on the channel. Go to the SPH channel right now. Kailasa's SPH Nithyananda YouTube channel. Please click on it. Go to the short and share this short with them. Tell them it is happening right now. We need their help. We need to save them. We can do it if we all come together. Please take a few minutes.
And we also have a comment from Ma Meenakshi, who is saying the fictitious state label against Kailasa is not only false, it's a violation of Bolivian law. Kailasa is internationally recognized. Absolutely true, Ma Meenakshi. And not just a violation of the Bolivian law, but a violation of international law such as the ILO Convention Convention 169 that Bolivia has ratified. The convention ensures the rights of indigenous people, the right to self-determination. And by labeling Kailasa as a fictitious state, it is in fact, the media is in fact violating the right to self-determination of Kailasa. And not only that, Kailasa, as per various international laws, such as the Montevideo Convention, which states that for a country to exist, it needs criteria, and Kailasa meets all the 4 criteria. It also meets the, let me reiterate the criteria, which is a government, a sovereign, a population, and the ability to enter into diplomatic relations with other states. So Kailasa has all the 4 criteria. And on top of that, nobody, no other state, not even the UN, can give recognition to other state. That is determined by international law such as the Montevideo Convention, as well as the doctrine of continuity. The doctrine of continuity specifically applies to Kailasa because it is the revival of ancient nations that has been present for many thousands of years, dating back to even more than 15,000 years. And we have documented records of these Hindu kingdoms for which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been coronated as the king, as the sovereign kings. There's documented record to show that Kailasa is the continuation of these ancient Hindu kingdoms. And not just ancient kingdoms, but indigenous kingdoms.
Actually, Vijaypriyam, I wanted to ask you this. Can you share more about why they are targeting and attacking? Because I see that as a repetitive question. And why? Because Swamiji has been targeted since the year 2003. Actually, many people, many of our viewers do not know when Kailasa's revival started. Actually, in 2003, that time itself, the legal framework was done for Kailasa that got started in 2003 itself. That is why from 2003, Swamiji is being attacked. The Hindu music forces are attacking Swamiji since that time itself. And all of you can see that very clearly. So, Vijaypriyamma, I just wanted you to also highlight on what are the different aspects, like where we clearly have the evidences. Courts have exonerated Swamiji. Why are these people attacking us still? What is actually going on?
Yes. See, I would actually like to put a question for the viewers here, especially, the viewers who've experienced Swamiji. See, before meeting Swamiji, before being initiated by Swamiji, how was your life? And now, how is your life? What is the change? What is the transformation that you have gone through? It will be good if all of you here can comment and just, analyze, look in. Because see, we actually start taking it for granted. We actually start forgetting the lives that we've had, all the worries, all the anxiety, the fears and whatnot that we've had before meeting Swamiji. And we don't realize it unless we start interacting, with people who've not had the same transformation. So see, if you look in, you will understand how much of fear, worry, insecurity in you just got dissolved. It's just not there anymore. Swamiji has empowered all of us so much, given us so much of confidence, right? Literally, he's making us God, making us realize our divinity. So when people start to realize their divinity. They cannot be exploited. Human beings can be exploited if they have fear and greed. If they do not have fear and greed, they cannot be exploited. And that is the reason Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, is facing persecution, so much of attacks, because he is selflessly, see, he doesn't have any selfish interest. He is only just pure compassion and love. He came down to planet Earth only for us, only to enlighten us, right? So the freedom that we are facing, the freedom that we are realizing, we are feeling now, it's only because of Swamiji. And when we feel that freedom, again, we cannot be exploited by deep state element, that people who have vested interest, right? People who would like exploiters of Mother Nature. They cannot do that. So that is why so much of attack, because Swamiji one is empowering all of us, making us realize our divinity. Second, reviving the ancient wisdom of the indigenous communities that does not exploit the environment, that doesn't have the concept of exploitation.
Absolutely. And also Swamiji has pity, and he inherits the sovereignty. Like, why Swamiji is reviving these and how Swamiji is reviving these? We have everything legally legal. I want to show to all of you. Actually, you all can see here. These are the 21 kingdoms that Swamiji is the head of. Swamiji has been coronated as the king of these 21 different Hindu kingdoms. And these are what Swamiji is reviving. These are our indigenous Hindu kingdoms. And these have been, Swamiji has been coronated in all of these, and Swamiji inherits these. Out of these major ones are unbroken. So this is the kind of history that we have and the clear proof that we have. The coronation ceremonies for each of these kingdoms for Swamijis is well documented. And because we have all these, because we have all of these with us clearly, and they're able to clearly see that all the evidence is out there, but still the Hindu-phobic, we want you to understand. All of us need to wake up to this truth. All of us need to realize what we are facing is a direct attack and a persecution. What is Swamiji doing? Except for serving humanity. Why are we being targeted and attacked so much? It is because Swamiji is empowering us. And due to this empowerment, we are all waking up to the powerful components that we have. We are being targeted, persecuted, and attacked. You are being brutally denied of all the rights that you have as a Hindu. It is very important for us to wake up to all of these. See, just because Swamiji is reviving Kailasa, I just want to show to all of you what Swamiji is doing through Kailasa. You all can see here how so many medical camps, free medical camps, disaster relief programs, free educations, all this are being conducted. All of you can see here, right? In front of us, we can see the work that Swamiji has been doing. is so phenomenal. See, this, and people are experiencing the direct transformations, benefits, and clearly the amazing Swamiji is doing to them. You all can see this. These are some of the pictures of all the free medical camps that we are conducting. Even now, so much of medical camps and support is being given through projects such as Hindu Borders and free medical camps, healing, spiritual healing, and giving free surgeries to people. Like this, so many, and the two top-notch doctors from different parts of the world are coming together, and this free medical camp is being conducted around. You can see the kind of yoga classes, high-class yoga classes, with the revival of the original yoga as per the Hindu scriptures being given completely for free, empowering humanity. Same way, see the Annadan with the vision of for a hunger-free world. Swamiji started this, and since 2002 till now, unbroken, every days we are having the Annadan. Over 1 billion being served, and we are continuing. You can see whether it is serve the sadhus, serve the homeless people, or serving during disaster relief, and serving, giving free food everywhere. So many of our temples around the world, Swamiji is doing these initiatives, but media will not tell you this. Media is not going to tell you all this truth. You can see the kind of work that Swamiji is doing, whether it is Kailasa's palliative care program or the various healings, initiations. Same way, take Department of Education. Over thousands of benefited from this with absolutely free education. We have the highest IQ empowerment that's happening. Kids at such young age being able to crack tests like such as Mensa. This is what Swamiji is doing. This is the kind of work that Swamiji is doing in all fields. This is why Swamiji is being targeted. Because Swamiji, he does not just talk. He walks his talk. He lives, he does the work, and through his work, Swamiji is standing up. The various services of Kailasa, whether the disaster relief programs that Swamiji is doing, where many millions have been benefited, or the animal rights and sustainability movements that Swamiji is spearheading. Understand, Hindus, it is because Swamiji is standing up for Hinduism. And no matter what anyone tells, Swamiji does not deter away. You all need to know, Swamiji was blackmailed at one point to just give up Hinduism. Swamiji was blackmailed, but Swamiji did not give up. This is why Swamiji is being attacked.
And we have more comments here. We have Kailasa San Diego, who is asking, did the Bolivian outlets contact Kailasa before publishing their narratives? Balanced journalism requires presenting both sides. So the answer is no. And they are also not interested in knowing both sides of the story. Because if they wanted to uphold their ethics, they would have contacted Kailasa for both sides of the story. But they are simply they simply are not interested because their only objective is to spread disinformation and incite hate. And that has been the trend since 2010, since the persecution started, when these deep state elements started realizing the good that Swamiji is doing to revive the ancient tradition. So that is why it is also very important, again reiterating, to reach out to these media outlets and hold them accountable for their actions. And we also have many comments from Ashutosh Sharma, who is saying, I was thoroughly brainwashed by the media, by the mainstream media, movies and food industry. Swamiji helped me connect to my roots and brought dharma into my life. I got healthy, manifested great career and wealth because of Swamiji's teachings. And the ecosystem Swamiji has created is such powerful force for good in this world, in such deep, it is such deep wisdom with thousands of years of the heritage. We need to wake up, stand for the ecosystem, for dharma. Absito Sharmaya. See, I am sure all of you here can share so many experiences where Swamiji has healed you. You know, you've manifested wealth into your life. You've manifested the jobs that you wanted. You've manifested great family relationships, whatever it is. You've experienced bliss, right? So many of you here can actually share. And these are all your Sakshi Pramanas that nobody can deny. But again, you have to understand that these Hindu music, racist, anti-Hindu media outlets, when they in Kailasa and when they are persecuting the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is spreading false lies, they are preventing others from experiencing the same, from benefiting the same as you have. So it is also your responsibility now to, again, raise awareness, make these media outlets accountable, so that more and more people can have the same experiences and benefits that you have received from Swamiji.
And I just wanted to also address one very important thing. Like our message where one of the viewers had asked about fair journalism and why they're not asking Kailasa side, like they did not ask Kailasa side. I just want to address this, not just they did not ask Kailasa, they didn't approach us, even what we are trying to give to them, they're not taking. They did not even cover what indigenous people are telling. Can you imagine? Claiming that there are, as if there are two sides, and they're claiming as if they're talking for indigenous people. You wouldn't believe they have not even spoken to the indigenous people. And the indigenous nation presidents are all voicing out. Still, none of that is being covered. The only thing, see, this is a tactic that always the aggressors have used upon us. The colonizers have used upon us, where they brainwash certain sect of people who are look-alikes, like they look like those indigenous people, but they are not those indigenous people. Like, for example, in this situation, they have bribed some of the Bolivian people there, some of the mercenaries that they have, who look like the indigenous people but are not the indigenous people, and they sent them to attack. I want to detail out how this happened, because I want all of you to know when they were attacking the Hindu monks. See, right now our Hindu sister monks, brother monks from multiple locations, we do not know where they are, and we are struggling to somehow get in touch with them. We have not been able to get in touch with any of them. This is the attack that right now we are facing. Now, what exactly is going on? What exactly is happening is, as we are being faced with this attack, I want to just share like how this started. Then it started in multiple locations at the same time. So this is also showing, exposing how this is not any mob that tried to attack. No, this is a well planned attack. Then our brothers sannyasis who are there serving the indigenous communities, they were doing the annadan. We do annadan every day. We are serving free every day. And when we are serving, like, to get more groceries and getting items for service, they had to go to a different town using a boat. So they were just trying to get into the boat. There was, and this is slightly away from where, where we actually do the services. There is where we are doing the services, indigenous community that is happy with us. But they waited till these few monks wait and trying to get into the boat. And in the boat, they surrounded. And once they surrounded them, they started confiscating their devices, started beating them up, and they denied them of water. It's scorching sun. It's in that heat, right? And they said that they're not going to let them go anywhere, and they started harassing them. And our monks literally begged them, requesting them to say, just please leave. And we are here just to serve. And they're first trying to understand what is going on. Who are these people? Because these people didn't belong locally. Who are these people? They didn't answer any of that. These men had guns, rifles with them. And they had knives, rifles, and they were pointing it out at the sannyasis and were threatening. And I want to share how we got to know this. We saw this being live covered by some of the Hindu-phobic media channels. At the same time, in a different location, where our Hindu monks, sisters were staying, and these are hundreds of miles apart, literally like different cities altogether. And in that place, in that location, all of a sudden, they were just doing their spiritual routine, doing the yoga and puja. Uniformed armed men barged into an all-female monastery campus. And they immediately, our sister sannyasis asked who they were. They did not answer and started confiscating all their items, their phones, their bags, their passports. And immediately our lawyers tried to rush over there, trying to reach them to find out what is happening. It's so, the situation is like completely against the fundamental laws, because they did not allow even the lawyers to get in touch with them. They did not allow the people to reach out to any of their legal representatives, and they're begging, saying, please allow our legal authorities, the legal representatives, the lawyers are right outside. They denied. Instead, they blocked the whole place. They let some specific media channels to come and do a live coverage. And it was not a live coverage. I just wanted to, like, they were trying to shoot videos and trying to portray a different narrative altogether. This was what is happening. And simultaneously, multiple different places. Our sister sannyasis were in different places, doing different activities, services, doing annadan, or here teaching yoga, doing the puja rituals. So at that time they were attacked. How did they track all these people at the same time? What is going on? And there we also had women who were pregnant. They denied them of giving food, water. Children were there. The children are denied of food and water. And here on the other side, where our male sannyasis were there, they were made to stand for hours together till fully throughout they were standing in the sun, and it went to such an extent where the monks started fainting and falling due to the intense heat of the sun and being denied of water. This is after that we have no news of what's happening with any of them. They are being kidnapped, and this is the situation that we are in right now. All for what? Just because they decided to go and serve humanity? This has to stop. This is the persecution that is happening right now. And this persecution has to stop. We need to put a full stop to this. This has to end. Any of you have any questions that you want to ask? And whatever you want to post from your side, we request all of you to share it here. Any questions that you have, feel free to ask. We will answer your questions. And you can post anything that you have and any suggestions that you have as well.
And we also have Dr. Sridhika Karthik, who is sharing with Swamiji's grace and blessings. We have manifested such deep fulfillment in life with respect to health, wealth, completion in relationships, and amazing health benefits. Yes, ma, absolutely. And we also have Ma Apiri Chidyananda, who is saying, why is the media silent on Kailasa's sovereignty, but loud as elsewhere? If we don't call it out now, who will? Yes, ma, it is high time that we call it out. It is very, very high time that we stop being silent, that we voice out on all social media platforms, because the mainstream media is not going to do it. The mainstream media is not interested in the truth. They are not interested in the rights of the indigenous people. So please, all of you, please share widely on your social media platforms, emailing the media outlets, your governments also, raise what persecution is happening to Kailasa, which is a Hindu nation, the only Hindu nation who have been persecuted, continuing to face persecution for centuries. And you may also ask, there's so much of talk happening on international platforms about persecution, and you will see there's so many resolutions, conventions that are being set up about persecutions on a certain group of people. But have you seen anywhere for Hinduism? No. The international community is not going to address the persecution of Hindus. Only Swamiji is doing that. And it is your responsibility, all of you, to now wake up to this persecution and start becoming active and actively reaching out. Find ways. What else can I do? What next can I do to make this persecution stop? Because remember, the more we are getting persecuted, the more that is taking time away from the services, from the mission, the actual mission and vision of Kailasa. That is to help humanity, enrich humanity, raise humanity, and ultimately giving enlightenment to the whole humanity and global peace, which all nations are struggling now. All the nations are struggling with global peace, and they do not know how to stop it. They do not have solutions. because they do not even know what is the root of so much of conflict. They are not addressing the roots. They are just trying to put a band-aid. So Swamiji is addressing the root to all these problems. That is the work, that is the huge work that he is doing for the sake of humanity. He didn't have to do it, but he's doing it for our sake, so that we have a future, so that our children have a future. And we also have MahaParamashivoham, who is saying every false headline against Kailasa adds to the pain of indigenous peoples globally. Yes, absolutely.
Right now, the persecution is still continuing. And we thank all of you who are supporting us. We're receiving a lot of support. We thank each and every one of you. We kindly request all of you, please share this. Make your own posts, post it everywhere. Let's spread this awareness and let us save the lives of our Hindu monk sisters, Hindu monk brothers. Let us save the lives of all our indigenous people. With this, we thank each and every one of you who have been supporting us, and we will be back with more live updates to all of you. Let us now offer our gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and his immense sacrifice. And let us now conclude with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam.
innocent women, innocent children, pregnant women. And what for? Right? I mean, they've not committed any crime. They are innocent. They only went there to serve. They've left behind their lives, their comforts, the innocent women.
To get in touch with our people, and we are really concerned about their safety right now. As we are talking, the attack is still going on, and it's very unfortunate that it is happening in multiple places, and this is putting our very fundamental rights itself in question, as all our fundamental rights, the basic right of even existence, is being denied to us.
What we are going through right now is since the continuation of yesterday, where the monks were kidnapped and they were beaten, they were held at gunpoint, threatened. Since then, we have been continuously facing the continuous attacks and persecution by the locals and incited by the deep state, who have been continuously on attack. And we are only getting glimpses of various small clips that are available to us that are coming through. That is also taken by the false media, which is trying to portray the situation in an absolutely wrong way again. So we are still concerned, as we are seeing, as we are all speaking to each other here. Today, we wanted to take this time to clarify the false allegations that have been placed on Kailasa by these anti Hindu, Hindu phobic, Hindu Mesic, anti indigenous media that has been claiming in the favor of the indigenous nations. But we have the direct words from the indigenous nations. As we saw yesterday, the lawyers had given their statements from the indigenous leaders who are there, who are directly and completely in support of Kailasa, seeing how the entire deep state is being used to arm twist and to do whatever they want against the indigenous nations and communities.
We are going to be now taking and addressing the blatant false allegations that have been levied upon us, and we are going to be clarifying what are the actual facts and how the racist Hindu-phobic elements are twisting this. And during this time, all the live viewers that are here with us, you can post any questions that you have, anything that you are seeking clarification for. Please do take a moment and post it here. We will be able to clarify right away. You can ask any questions that you have. And unfortunately, actually, you can see right now live in our channel, the attack is multi-pronged. It's happening in several locations at the same time. It is also exposing some of the deeper elements that are there, the deep state elements that are involved into this.
In fact, as we've all been seeing since the last so many days, and yesterday we showed and we explained the whole thing on air. Right now, as we talk, our female monks of Kailasa and the male sannyasis, all of them are being attacked, being persecuted. For what? For carrying forward the mission of serving the humanity that Swamiji has envisioned. All the songs that are there, whether it is as right now, whether it is happening in a way in different Kailasas, in multiple Kailasas, the attacks that are happening, whether it is Kailasa Bolivia, whether it is Kailasa Ecuador, or whether it is in Kailasa in Tamil Nadu, in Salem, in Setur, each of these places, right now, the sannyasis, the monks, the people who have dedicated their life for the mission as Swamiji is envisioned to serve the humanity are being attacked just now as we talk. And it is important for all of us to know the facts and
most importantly, to share the right information, because this recent false narratives and all these malicious propaganda are being engineered by anti-indigenous, Hindu music, Hindu-phobic, deep state elements. And we are here to issue our official statement to clarify our intentions and to reaffirm our commitment to environmental protection, cultural preservation, and all the sovereignty of all the ancient nations as envisioned by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and as being served, as Swamiji is proving it through the various different contributions that have been extended.
And so many of these anti-Hindu, Hindu music, racist media, anti-indigenous media, and I'm going to read out the names of all these media. We have Ana Bolivia, Awasca, El Mundo, Ahora El Pueblo, Opinion, Tinformas, Observatorio de Derechos de los Pueblos Indígenas, El Deber, ABC, Vision 360, Noticias Infobic. So all these media are repeatedly referring to Kailasa as a fictitious state, imaginary state, or fake nation. So labeling the United States of Kailasa as fictitious, imaginary, is a deliberate attempt to deny us our right to self-determination. And this right is enshrined in international law, including the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, the UN. And by dismissing our existence, these elements, these racist Hindu music, Hindu-phobic elements, seek to erase our identity as a sovereign entity, which is dedicated to Sanatan Hindu civilization, revival of the ancient nations. They are trying to suppress our efforts to unite indigenous communities and protect our shared heritage by denying us our fundamental right to exist, thrive, and contribute to the global community. And these Hindu music, racist media are also saying that Kailasa is not a recognized state by any other actor in the international community. So, see, the fact is, the United Nations, for example, is neither a state or a government, and it therefore does not possess any authority to recognize either a state or a government. And as an as an organization of independent states, it can only admit a new state with membership or accept the credentials of that state, but it does not have the authority to recognize a state. That is decided by various international laws that these member states of the United Nations have ratified. For example, the Montevideo Convention. And as per the Montevideo Convention, Kailasa satisfy all the requirements of this convention. For example, Kailasa has a government. We do have multiple sovereign lands and we do have the ability to enter into diplomatic relations with other countries. We've already entered into diplomatic relations with many other countries and nations. And Kailasa is an ancient nation. It is the revival of ancient indigenous Hindu nations that are sovereign nations. And as per the doctrine of continuity, which is an international law, and as per that doctrine, Kailasa is recognized as an ancient state. So what the Hindu music, racist media are saying about Kailasa, delegitimizing Kailasa, is absolutely false and not rooted on international laws or facts.
I would like to add in over here. And the very fundamental rights that have been given to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is derived from the lineage and the heritage that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has inherited. As the head, as the emperor, as the sovereign of 21 ancient kingdoms, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism derives the rights, derives the powers to continue to uphold the tradition that is there. And as a sovereign, Kailasa has its very rights to self-determination, which is quoted in the international laws. And we would like to once again tell very clearly that some of these false anti-Hindu, Hindu-mesic, racist media such as El Mundo, Ahura El Pueblo, Tinformas, Opinion, ABC, and Eldeber are trying to say that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is trying to claim that Kailasa does not have any diplomatic relations with them. We'd like to very clearly state over here is that we never even claimed that Kailasa has established diplomatic relations with Bolivia. So we have never even told that. But at the same time, step further and try to say that Kailasa has not established international relations with anybody, which in itself is a lie. They do not have the rights to go ahead and try to discredit the international relations that Kailasa has with several nations around the world, and trying to put if they are the ones that they are bringing out light and justice to the entire world, which is in fact a complete fake, fabricated lie that is being spread continuously through their anti-Hindu, Hindu-mesic and racist media channels which are there.
And what attack we are experiencing right now is also in violation of the Bolivian laws, the Bolivian constitution. For example, the Article 4 in Bolivian constitution guarantees freedom of religion and spiritual beliefs in accordance with the worldviews. And Article 21, the third clause, enshrines the right to freedom of thought, spirituality, religion, and worship. And Article 30 declares again, specifically protects the indigenous people's cultural identity, religious beliefs, spiritualities, practices, and customs. It also guarantees the indigenous people the right to cultural identity, religious belief, and spiritualities, practices, and customs, and their own worldview. Article 30 also protects the indigenous intellectual property of their knowledge, sciences, and learning. Article 98 of the Bolivian Constitution affirms that the state assumes the cultural diversity as the essential basis of the plurinational state. And what attack we are experiencing right now is in violation of all these fundamental rights that are enshrined in the very Constitution itself. So this, what we are experiencing is what the anti-Hindu, Hindu-phobic, Hindu-mesic, anti-indigenous elements attack us with.
And I would like to add that the media, the Hindu-mesic, anti-indigenous, racist media, is also accusing the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivoham, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism of 2 billion Hindus, of being a self-proclaimed Hindu religious leader who declares himself the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and also referring him and Kailasa as right-wing, pro-fascist religious sect. See, let me remind these media that these false allegations are in complete violation of the Bolivian laws, complete violations of freedom of religion and spiritual beliefs, including many international legal instruments such as the American Convention on Human Rights, Article 5, right to humane treatment, right to personal liberty, and so on. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been declared by his predecessors of his enlightened masters and adept as the incarnation of Paramashiva. And as per Hinduism, he has been coronated as the heir, as the king of many akharas, of many apex bodies, ancient apex bodies of Hinduism that are several thousands of years old. So these music media and these racist media are not doing any fact checking. They are not even versed, aware of anything related to Hinduism, and just inciting hate through these allegations, through these false speech on Kailasa, on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
And at the same time, the false media, the allegations that they try to bring up, the racist in Hindu music media, that the allegations that they try to keep bringing up time and again, is that Kailasa as a fictitious nation. Kailasa is a nation. As I mentioned earlier, Kailasa is very clearly a nation with multiple sovereign territories, autonomous territories that have been gifted by various countries around the world with whom we have established diplomatic relations and have also established several levels of diplomatic relations as well. And once again, the way that the campaigns are done and is spread is very clearly shown evidently by not just suppressing the voice of Kailasa, but also suppressing the voice. If you actually see any of the news articles that has been published till now, you will not see an actual indigenous community member who has given their voice against Kailasa or what has been going on, other than just fabricated lies on the using the names of the indigenous communities which are there. In fact, a lot of indigenous leaders have continuously been sharing the positive information. They have been really concerned for our monks and the male and the female monks.
And in fact, I'd also like to add here an important point that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, Swamiji, has has been coronated by various different Hindu ancient indigenous kingdoms. And Swamiji is the current pontiff, the ruler, emperor of 21 such ancient Hindus indigenous kingdoms. And over 25 lakh religious leaders who selected and elected 1,000 pontiffs, the Hindu leaders of these ancient indigenous kingdoms, and this 1,000 pontiffs coronated the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is formally selected and declared and coronated as the emperor of all these 21 ancient Hindu indigenous kingdoms.
ராஜபாளையத்திலிருந்து பேசுறோம். இந்த இந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி வந்து நித்யானந்த தியானபீடம் ட்ரஸ்ட்டுக்கு சொந்தமான பப்ளிக் சேரிட்டபிள் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி. இது பப்ளிக் சேரிட்டபிள் ட்ரஸ்ட்டுக்கு சம்பந்தமான நித்யானந்த தியானபீடத்துக்கு சொந்தமான இடம். இது வந்து கிஃப்ட் சாமி கேக்குதுங்களா?
இப்ப தெரியும். ஆரம்பிக்கட்டுங்களா? சாமி நாங்க பேசுறது கேக்குதுங்களா?
Yeah, we are on Zoom also.
நீங்க டெஸ்ட் பண்ணுங்க, நாங்க பேசுறது கேக்குதா?
நித்யானந்தம்.
நாங்க கைலாசா ராஜபாளையத்துல இருந்து பேசுறோம். இப்ப பாத்தீங்கன்னா இங்க இருக்கிற ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி நம்மளுக்கு நித்யானந்த பப்ளிக் சேரிட்டி எழுதி கொடுத்தாரு. 2007 இருந்து நம்ம இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி டாக்ஸ்ல இருந்து ஈபி பட்டா எல்லாமே நம்ம பேர்ல இருக்குது. ஆனா அவங்க தொடர்ந்து ஒரு குண்டாசை கொண்டு வந்து 2007 இருந்து அட்டாக் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. அவங்களோட குண்டாசியும் அந்த கணேஷோட ஆட்களையும் கொண்டு வந்து சன்னியாசிங்களோட நம்ம சேத்தூர்லயும் சரி, ராஜபாளையத்திலயும் சரி, அங்க இருக்கிற சன்னியாசிங்கள உயிர் த்ரெட்டனிங்காக உள்ளே பெட்ரோல் குடி 2019 பாத்தீங்கன்னா பெட்ரோல் வெடி கொண்டு போட்டு அவங்கள உள்ள லைஃப்ல எரிச்சிருவேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி மிரட்டுனாங்க. வண்டியை எரிச்சிருக்காங்க. அதுக்கான எவிடன்ஸ் எல்லாமே நம்ம கிட்ட இருக்கு. நம்ம அவரே போய் பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி அதாவது கிஃப்ட் டீடு கொடுத்தது வந்து அவரே
வந்து எந்த கண்டிஷனும் இல்லாம மாற்ற முடியாத, திரும்ப பெற முடியாத ஆவணமா தான்
இர்ரிவோக்கபிள் டீடா தான் அவர் கொடுத்தாரு.
ஆமா, மாற்ற முடியாத, திரும்ப பெற முடியாத தான ஆவணமாக தான் அவர் கொடுத்தாரு. அவர் கொடுத்ததுல இருந்து இன்னைக்கு தேதி வரைக்கும் அங்க நம்ம எல்லா ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸும் எல்லா பூஜை எல்லாம் இந்து தர்மத்துப்படி எப்படி எல்லாம் வாழ்றதுக்கு உண்டான எல்லா பூஜை பண்றது, தியானம், யோகா எல்லாம் தொடர்ந்து அக்ரிகல்ச்சரு, கோசாலா, ஒரு அன்னதானம், இந்த மாதிரி எல்லாமும் நாம தொடர்ந்து பண்ணிட்டு தான் இருக்கோம். ஆனா
இந்த லேண்ட் மாபியாஸ் எல்லாம் இருக்காங்க இல்லைங்களா, அவங்க போய் என்ன பண்றாங்க, இந்த லேண்ட கிராப் பண்றதுக்கு கணேஷோட சேர்ந்துக்குன்னு பண்றாங்க. அதாவது உள்ள இருக்கிற சன்னியாசிகளை செக்ஷுவல் ஹராஸ் பண்ணி அந்த மாதிரியா பண்ணி நம்ம அவங்கள வெளியேற்றணும்னு செக்ஷுவல் ஹராஸ் பண்ணி சன்னியாசின்னு கூட பார்க்க மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. அவங்கள செக்ஷுவல் ஹராஸ்மெண்ட் பண்ணி அவங்கள எல்லா ஃபீமேல் சன்னியாசிஸ் தாங்க முடியாதது அதுதான். ஃபீமேல் சன்னியாசிஸ் செக்ஷுவல் ஹராஸ்மெண்ட் பண்றாங்க. அந்த லேண்ட் மாஃபியாசிஸ் அதுக்கு துணை போறாரு இந்த கணேஷ் டாக்டர். அதுக்கப்புறம் அவங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னாக்கா அவர் கொடுத்துருக்குது கிஃப்ட் டீட. ஆக்சுவலா ஒரு கிஃப்ட் டீடு கொடுத்தா 2 பேருமே தான், அவரே அன்கண்டிஷனல் இர்ரிவோக்கபிள் டீடா தான் கொடுத்தாரு. அவர் படிச்சிருக்காரு. ஒரு டீடை வந்து நம்ம கேன்சல் பண்ணணும்னா 2 பேரும் மியூச்சுவல் கன்சென்ட் வேணும். அவர் என்ன பண்றாரு, அவரோட இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸை யூஸ் பண்ணி போய் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் ஆஃபீஸ்ல கேன்சல் பண்ணிருக்காரு. த்ரூ த கோர்ட் மூலமா தான் அவர் பண்ணமே தவிர அவரே தனித்து போய் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணி கேன்சல் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்காரு. அதை எடுத்துட்டு வந்து இன்னைக்கு ஏன் சொத்துன்னு சொல்லிடுறாரு. எப்ப பப்ளிக் சேரிட்டபிள் ட்ரஸ்ட் கொடுத்துட்டாரோ அது வந்து இண்டிவிஜுவல் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி கிடையாது. இட் இஸ் ஏ பப்ளிக் சேரிட்டபிள் ட்ரஸ்ட். இங்க வந்து ஒரு அன்னதானமும் அன்னதான ஆள் கட்டியிருக்கோம், டெம்பிள் பில்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கோம், அண்ட் சாமிஜி எல்லாத்தையும் உருவாக்கி இங்க பொதுமக்கள் பயன்பாட்டுக்காக உருவாக்கி கொண்டு வந்திருக்குது. அத வந்து இன்னைக்கு ஏன் சொத்துன்னு சொல்லி இல்லீகலா தான் ட்ரை பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு. அது குண்டாஸ் அனுப்பி தான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு.
அவரால் லீகலா இந்த இடத்த எடுக்க முடியாததுனால இல்லீகலா எல்லா வகையிலயும் குண்டாசுங்களை அனுப்பிச்சு கொலை மிரட்டல் வர்றது, சன்னியாசிகளை மானபங்கப்படுத்துறது, கையை பிடிச்சி இழுக்கிறது, இந்த மாதிரி தொடர்ந்து நடத்திட்டே இருக்காரு.
2024ல இத்தனை அட்டாக்ஸ் நடக்குதுன்னு நாங்க போய் போலீஸ் கிட்ட கம்ப்ளைண்ட் கொடுத்து எல்லா இடத்துலயும் கொடுத்துருக்கோம். டிஎஸ்பி முதல் கொண்டு எஸ்பி கலெக்டர் எல்லாருக்கும் கொடுத்துருக்கோம். யார்கிட்ட இருந்து இன்வெஸ்டிகேஷன் நம்ம
சின்ன ஒரு
ஆனா அதுக்கு பதில் என்ன பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னா ஒரு சன்னியாசிஸ் போய் கத்தி வச்சு உன்னை கொன்னுடுவேன் மிரட்டிட்டேன் அவங்க மேல எஃப்ஐஆர் என் 2 குழந்தைங்களை காப்பாத்துங்க மக்களே. எங்களை இந்த இந்து சனாத தர்மம் வாழ எங்களுக்கு வழி சொல்லுங்க மக்களே.
அவங்க தூக்கி எங்களை வெளியே போட்டாலும் எங்களுக்கு வேற வாழ்க்கை இல்லை. எங்களுடைய வாழ்வாதாரம் இதுதான், எங்களுடைய வாழ்வியல் முறை இதுதான். எங்களுடைய வாழ்க்கை இந்து தர்மத்தை வாழ்றதுதான், சனாதன தர்மத்தை வாழ்றதுதான். அவங்க எங்களை கொண்டாலும் சரி, நாங்க தொடர்ந்து பகவானுக்கு பூஜை பண்ணி தான் வாழ போறோம். இதுதான் எங்க வாழ்க்கை.
நாங்க இந்த வாழ்க்கையை தான் வாழணும்னு ஆசைப்படுறோம். இந்த தொடர்ந்து வாழ போறோம்.
எங்களுக்கோ எங்க குழந்தைகளுக்கோ எது ஒண்ணு ஆனாலும் இந்த இந்து விரோத கும்பலோ இந்த அதிகாரிகளும் தான் காரணம்.
இது உங்களுக்கு கடைசியா இத சொல்லி தெரிவிச்சுக்கிறோம். இதுக்கப்புறம் எங்க கிட்ட எந்த ஒரு எவிடன்ஸும் இல்ல.
கரண்ட புடிங்கிட்டாங்க, பாதைய புடிங்கிட்டாங்க, எதுக்காகவும் வெளியே போக முடியல. டோர்ல வச்சு இப்ப லாக் பண்ணிட்டு வர இது உங்களை என்ன பண்ற பாருன்னு சொல்லி கதவை லாக் பண்ணிட்டு போயிருக்காங்க. வந்தா என்ன நடக்கும்னு தெரியல. இந்த வீடியோ மூலமா தான் உங்களுக்கு தெரிவிச்சுக்கிறோம். எங்களுக்கு எது ஆனாலும் சரி, எங்க குழந்தைக்கு எது ஆனாலும் சரி, அந்த இந்து விரோத கும்பலோ அந்த அதிகாரிகளும் தான் காரணமா.
நாங்க வந்து பூஜை பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம்.
கருவறையில உள்ள உட்காந்து பூஜை பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். இங்க வந்து இப்ப நாங்க இங்கதான் இந்த இடத்துல தான் இருக்கிறோம். ஆனா இங்க வந்து போலீஸ் வந்து அட்டாக் பண்ண வராங்க. கதவை உடைச்சு உள்ள வெளியே ஏத்த வராங்க. எங்களோட உயிரே போனாலும் சரி, நாங்க இந்த பூஜையை நிறுத்த மாட்டோம். நாங்க தொடர்ந்து பூஜை பண்ணிட்டே தான் இருப்போம்.
பூஜை பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். எங்களுடைய லைஃபே வந்து சன்னியாச லைஃப். எங்களுக்கு தேவை இந்த பூஜை தான், சுவாமி தான். நாங்கள் பூஜை பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். போலீஸ் வந்து அட்டாக் பண்ணிட்டு ரெடியாக இருக்காங்க. கதவை வெளிப்பக்கம் லாக் பண்ணிட்டு போயிருக்காங்க.
எங்கள் லைஃப் ஸ்டைலு சன்னியாச வாழ்க்கை. நாங்கள் தொடர்ந்து பூஜை பண்ணுறது எங்களோட வாழ்க்கை. இது எங்களோட உரிமையும் கூட. ஆனால் அவங்க வந்து இருக்கக்கூடாதுன்னு வந்து கதவை தட்டி பூஜை கொள்ளன்னு போகிறாங்க. குண்டாஸ் வந்து வெளியே கதவை லாக் பண்ணிட்டு போயிருக்காங்க.
கரண்ட்டையும் கட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. இப்போ எங்களுக்கு வந்து எமர்ஜென்சி சூழ்நிலை வந்து ஒரு இந்துஸை வந்து ஒரு தனிப்பட்ட முறையில் பூஜை பண்ணுறதுக்கு கூட வழி இல்லாமல் வந்து கதவை வந்து லாக் பண்ணிட்டு நாங்கள் போய் இப்போ வந்து போலீஸை கூப்பிட்டு வந்து உங்களை வந்து அரெஸ்ட் பண்ணுறோன்னு சொல்லிட்டு போயிருக்கிறாங்க. Paramashivoham.
நித்யானந்தா தியான பீடத்திலிருந்து பேச தமிழா பேசிய நேயர்களுக்கு வணக்கம். இன்று நம்முடன் இணைந்திருக்கும் சிறப்பு விருந்தினர்கள் நித்யானந்தா தியான பீடத்திலிருந்து திரு சுந்தரேஷ். பேச தமிழா பேசிய நேயர்களுக்கு வணக்கம். இன்று நம்முடன் இணைந்திருக்கும் சிறப்பு விருந்தினர்கள் நித்யானந்தா தியான பீடத்திலிருந்து திரு சுந்தரேஸ்வர சுவாமிகள் அவர்கள். அதே போல நித்யானந்தா தியான பீடத்திலிருந்து பல்வேறு துறவிகள் நம்மோடு இணைந்திருக்கிறாங்க. வணக்கம் சார். சார், முதலாவதா நமக்கு இப்ப சமீபத்துல ஒரு சில வீடியோக்கெல்லாம் நம்ம பார்க்க முடிஞ்சது. அதாவது ராஜபாளையத்திலையும் சேத்தூர்லயும் நித்யானந்தா தியான பீடத்தை சேர்ந்த ஆசிரமங்கள் நிறைய இருக்கு. அதுல ஒரு சிலர் வந்து சட்டவிரோதமா தாக்குதல் நடத்துறதாகவும் அங்க இருக்கக்கூடிய துறவிகளுக்கும் தொல்லைகள் கொடுப்பதாகவும், அது வந்து பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா பிசிக்கலாவும் இருக்கட்டும், மென்டலி டார்ச்சர் பண்றதா நம்ம கேள்விப்பட்டோம். ஆக்சுவலா அங்க என்ன சார் நடக்குது? அதை கொஞ்சம் எங்களுக்கு விரிவா சொல்ல முடியும்?
கண்டிப்பா. இப்ப ஆக்சுவலா நம்ம கிரவுண்ட்ல என்ன நடக்குது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நம்ம பார்த்தோம்னா, இப்போ நம்ப சன்னியாசிகள் வந்து அங்க கடந்த 20 வருஷமா நம்மளோட கைலாச ராஜபாளையத்திலும், கைலாசா சீத்தூர்லுமே வந்து நம்ப ஆல்மோஸ்ட் 20 வருஷமா வந்து நம்மளோட பூஜைகள் மற்றும் சேவைகள் வந்து நம்ம செஞ்சுட்டு வந்துட்டு இருக்கோம். அங்க வந்து நம்மளோட கோவில் இருக்கு, நம்மளோட கட்டடங்கள் இருக்கு, தியான முகாம்கள் செட் பண்ணி நடத்துறதுக்கான ஹால்ஸ் இருக்கு, கோஷாலைகள் இருக்கு. இந்த மாதிரி ஃபுல் ஃபிளெஜ்ட் கேம்பஸாவே இருக்கு. ஆனா இப்போ ஒரு லாஸ்ட் ஃபியூ டேஸா நீங்க பாக்குறது வந்து இந்த லாஸ்ட் ஃபியூ டேஸா நடக்கிற அட்டாக் மட்டும் கிடையாது, தாக்குதல் மட்டும் கிடையாது. இது ஆக்சுவலா ஒரு ஹிஸ்டாரிக்கலாவே வந்துட்டு இருக்கு. நம்ம கூட மா அச்சலா சுவாமி வந்து இணைந்திருக்காங்க. மா அச்சலா சுவாமி, நீங்க ஒரு ஃபியூ டீடைல்ஸ் இதை பத்தி ஷேர் பண்ணுங்கம்மா.
எஸ், இந்த ராஜபாளையம் அண்ட் சேத்தூர் இந்த 2 லேண்ட்ஸ் வந்து ஆக்சுவலி நித்யானந்தா தியானபீட்டம், இது வந்து ஒரு பப்ளிக் சேரிட்டபிள் ட்ரஸ்ட், கர்நாடகால ரெஜிஸ்டர் ஆனது ட்ரஸ்ட். அது வந்து பல வகையில ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் சர்வீசஸ், சோஷியல் சர்வீசஸ் இது எல்லாமே பண்றது ஒரு ட்ரஸ்ட் which is established அட்லீஸ்ட் ஒரு 15 years back. 2006 எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ் ஆயாச்சு. இட்ஸ் now becoming almost 20 years. கண்டினியூஸா சர்வீசஸ் பண்ணிட்டு மொத்த இந்தியால, எஸ்பெஷலி தமிழ்நாடுல நிறைய ஆஷ்ரம்ஸ்ல, ஆதினத்ஸ்ல எல்லாமே நம்ம சர்வீஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். மெடிடேஷன் கிளாஸ், யோகா கிளாஸ். ஸ்பெசிபிக்கலி இங்க ராஜபாளையம் நம்ம பார்த்தா, இங்க வந்து 2006 இந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி கிடைச்ச அப்புறம் இந்த லாஸ்ட் 18 இயர்ஸா நாங்க கண்டினியூஸா அங்க இருக்கிறது கொடுத்தது லேண்டு. அந்த லேண்டு கொடுத்தது வந்து ஒரு கணேஷ் சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு நபரு. அவர் வந்து வெறும் லேண்ட் கொடுத்தது. ட்ரஸ்ட் வந்து நம்ம இன்கம் டாக்ஸ் ரிட்டர்ன்ஸ்லயும் உட்காந்து நம்ம பார்க்கலாம், எல்லா ஃபைலிங்ஸ்லயும் பார்க்கலாம். ட்ரஸ்ட் வந்து ஃபுல்லா அந்த டொனேஷன்ல வந்தது பைசா வச்சுட்டு அங்க மெடிடேஷன் ஹால், யோகா ஹால், அன்னாலயம், அன்னமந்தர் அன்னதானம் பண்றதுக்கு, கோயில், டெம்பிள், அதே மாதிரி பீப்புளுக்கு ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் கவுன்சிலிங் கொடுக்கறதுக்கு ஹால்ஸ், நம்ம வாலண்டியர்ஸ், நம்ம ஆஷ்ரமைட்ஸ், சன்னியாசிஸ் அவங்களுக்கு தங்கி சேவை பண்றதுக்கு வசதி, ஸோ அக்கோமடேஷன், ஒரு 10 ரூமு, இது எல்லாமே நம்ம அங்க கட்டி ஃபுல் ஸ்கேல்ல எல்லா வகையிலும் ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் சர்வீசஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஆர்கானிக் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர்.
இப்ப கணேஷ் அப்படிங்கிற நபர் வந்து நமக்கு வந்து கிஃப்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க அந்த லேண்டு. அந்த லேண்ட்ல நம்ம வந்து பில்டிங் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். அதே மாதிரி அன்னதான கூடங்கள், அதே மாதிரி கவுன்சிலிங் கொடுக்கறது, இந்த மாதிரியான பில்டிங் எல்லாம் நம்ம தான் கட்டியிருக்கோம். லேண்ட் மட்டும் ஒருத்தர் நமக்கு கிஃப்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காரு, அப்படிதானே?
ஆமா ஆமா.
ஓகே.
கரெக்ட். அதுலங்கயா இன்னும் ஒரு விஷயம் நான் என்ன சொல்ல விருப்பப்படுறேன்னாங்கயா, கிஃப்ட் டீட் படியே நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா கிளியரா வந்து அந்த கிஃப்ட் லீட்ல வந்து நீங்க ஸ்கிரீன்ல பாக்குற மாதிரி அப்சல்யூட்லி அந்த சேம் இஸ் இர்ரிவோக்கபிள் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அந்த கிஃப்ட் டீட்ல வந்திருக்கு. இது வந்து 2007 வந்து நம்மளுக்கு கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. எங்க கிளியரா சொல்லியிருக்காங்க அந்த கிஃப்ட் டீட் வந்து இர்ரிவோக்கபிளான கிஃப்ட் டீட் அப்படின்ட்டு. ஸோ அந்த இதுல தான் வந்து அந்த லேண்ட்ல தான் வந்து நம்ம வந்து மக்களுக்கு சேவை செஞ்சுட்டு வந்துட்டு இருக்கோம். இது ஒரு முக்கியமான பாயிண்ட், தட் இட் இஸ் இர்ரிவோக்கபிள்.
இர்ரிவோக்கபிள் மட்டும் இல்லாம சார், இது அன்கண்டிஷனல் கிஃப்ட் டீட் மீன்ஸ் அவர் வந்து பப்ளிக் சேரிட்டபிள் ட்ரஸ்ட்க்கு இவ்வளவு அப்ஜெக்டிவ்ஸ் இருக்கு. நம்ம அந்த அப்ஜெக்டிவ்ஸ் பிரகாரம் தான் எல்லா சர்வீசஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். அந்த கண்டிஷன் பிரகாரம் எங்களுக்கு ஒரு கண்டிஷனும் ஒண்ணும் இல்லை. நம்ம எப்படி அவுட் ஆஃப் ஹிஸ் ஓன் ஃப்ரீ வில் தான் கிளியரா இதுல போட்டிருக்கு. அந்த டோனர் வந்து அவரோட ஃப்ரீ வில்லா, நோ கோஷன், நோ இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் ஃப்ரம் எனிபடி, he grants gifts this property to the trust and forever, continuous and no condition, irrevocable. இந்த மாதிரி கிளியர் கட்டா இருக்கு கிஃப்ட் டீட்ல. இது கிஃப்ட் பண்ணப்புறம் நம்ம எல்லாமே ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி பில்ட் பண்ணப்புறம், சேவைகள் எல்லாமே ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணப்புறம், மக்கள் எல்லாமே இந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி நல்லபடியா யூஸ் பண்ண ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணப்புறம், இவர் வந்து 2010 இந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிய கிராப் பண்ண பார்த்தா திரும்பி. ஏன்னா நேச்சுரலி அதோட ரியல் எஸ்டேட் வேல்யூ நிறைய மேல போயாச்சு. இந்த
இன்வெஸ்ட்மென்ட்னால வந்து அவர் எடுத்துக்க முயற்சி பண்றாரு, அப்படிதானே?
ஆமா. அது வந்து அது கிராப் பண்ணறதுக்கு நிறைய வகையில ட்ரை பண்ணிருக்கா. 2010 ஃபர்ஸ்ட் என்ன பண்ணானா, இந்த கிஃப்ட் டீட கேன்சல் பண்ணறதுக்கு முயற்சி பண்ணிருக்கா. சப் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரார்ல போய் அவங்கள ஏதோ ஒரு இது பண்ணி அங்க கேன்சல் பண்ணிட்டா. ஆனா நம்மளுக்கு எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும், சட்டப்படி ஒரு கிஃப்ட் டீட யூனிலேட்டரலா ஒரே பார்ட்டியால கேன்சல் பண்றதுக்கு ரைட்ஸே இல்லை. ரெண்டாவது நம்மளோட கிஃப்ட் டீட் இர்ரிவோக்கபிள் வேற, அன்கண்டிஷனல் இர்ரிவோக்கபிள். சோ இந்த கேன்சலேஷன் இல்லீகல் ஆனதுனால அதை வச்சு அவர் அங்க எங்கள்கிட்ட வந்தோன்னு நாங்க கிளியரா சொன்னோம், இது இல்லீகல், நாங்க இது பிரகாரம் நாங்க வெளியில போக முடியாது. ரெண்டாவது இது இண்டிவிஜுவல்ஸ் இல்லை, இது அவர் வந்து இண்டிவிஜுவலுக்கு கிஃப்ட் பண்ணிடல, ஒரு ட்ரஸ்டுக்கு கிஃப்ட் பண்ணிருக்கா. ட்ரஸ்ட் லா பிரகாரம் எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், ட்ரஸ்ட் வந்து ஒரு ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி ஒருக்கா கிடைச்சா அது வந்து வெறும் சேவைக்கு மட்டும் தான் யூஸ் பண்ண முடியும். ட்ரஸ்டோட ஆப்ஜெக்டிவ்ஸ் பிரகாரம் யாருக்கும் கொடுக்க முடியாது, அது விற்க முடியாது. சோ நம்ம அப்படிதான் சட்ட விதியா நம்ம இதை யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டோம். இவர் வந்து பார்த்துட்டா நம்ம பொசஷன் விட்டு கொடுக்க மாட்டோம்னு சொல்லிட்டு சோ என்ன பண்ணா, கோர்ட்ல போய் சூட்டை போட்டா 2010ல. அந்த சூட்ல எனக்கு திரும்பி வேணும் லேண்ட் சொல்லிட்டு போட்டா. இது 2 வருஷம் அந்த சூட் ஓடித்து. 2012ல என்ன பண்ணானா, கோர்ட்ல போய் கிளியரா அவரே மெமோ சப்மிட் பண்ணார். இந்த மாதிரி நான் பார்த்துட்டேன், ட்ரஸ்ட் வந்து இந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டியோட நல்லபடி யூஸ் பண்றது நான் எப்படி எதிர்பார்த்தேனோ அந்த மாதிரி தான் யூஸ் ஆயிண்டுக்கு. சேரிட்டபிள் சோஷியல் சர்வீஸ் ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ் எல்லாமே நடக்கிறது நல்லபடியா. சோ நான் இந்த சூட்டை பர்சியூ பண்ண விரும்பல, நான் இதை வித்ட்ரா பண்ண விரும்புறேன். இந்த நாட் பிரஸ் மெமோ கோர்ட்டுக்கு சப்மிட் பண்ணிட்டு கோர்ட்ல வித்ட்ராவல் பெட்டிஷன் போட்டா கணேஷ். கோர்ட் வந்து அந்த வித்ட்ராவல் பெட்டிஷன் அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிட்டு சூட் வந்து டிக்ரி வந்து ட்ரஸ்ட் சார்பா ட்ரஸ்டோட ஃபேவர்ல பாஸ் பண்ணிடுது. இது வந்து 2012ல நடக்கிறது. ஆனா இவரோட லேண்ட் கிராபிங் அந்த அட்டாக்கிங் இது வந்து நிக்கல. கோர்ட்ல இருந்து இந்த லேண்ட கிராப் பண்ணறதுக்கு வழியிலே தெரிஞ்சு போச்சு. அது கழிஞ்சிட்டு இந்த லாஸ்ட் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் ஒரு 12 இயர்ஸா எப்படி அட்டாக் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கானா, பிசிக்கல் அட்டாக்கா. பிசிக்கல் அட்டாக்னா அது ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிளா, இப்போ அந்த லேண்டோட இது வந்து என்னெல்லாம் நம்ம பண்ணிருக்கோமோ அந்த லேண்ட நல்லா யூஸ் பண்றதுக்கு அது எல்லாமே டிஸ்ட்ராய் பண்றது. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இதுல நீங்க பார்க்கலாம், நாங்க ஒரு பியூட்டிஃபுல் ஹெர்பல் கார்டன் நக்ஷத்ரீஸ் மொத்தமா அந்த ஹோல் பிளேஸ் எப்படி நல்லபடியா மேல மேல ஆஃப்டர் பிஃபோர் த இல்லீகல் அட்டாக் உங்களுக்கு பிக்சர்ஸ் காண்றது, அது மொத்தமா அழிக்கிறது. அந்த பேனியன் ட்ரீ இருக்கட்டும், அந்த பக்கத்துல இருக்கிறது சக்தி ஸ்தலோட ட்ரீஸ் இருக்கட்டும், எல்லாத்தையும் அழிச்சிட்டு ஃபுல்லா பிளாட் ஆக்குறது லேண்ட். இது ஒரு வகையில அட்டாக்.
அதாவது இன்னொரு விஷயம் நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா, இன்னொரு விஷயம் நீங்க ஆக்சுவலா இதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா, இப்போ பிராக்டிக்கலா வந்து இப்ப அங்க நடக்கிற விஷயங்கள் எல்லாமே வந்து மக்களுக்கு சேவை செஞ்சது மட்டும்தான். மக்களுக்கு வந்து ஹீலிங் கொடுக்கறதா இருக்கட்டும், தியான சிகிச்சை கொடுக்கறதா இருக்கட்டும், இந்த மாதிரி மக்களுக்கு சேவை மட்டும்தான் செஞ்சோம். இப்ப மக்களை வரவிடாம பண்றது, இடத்து வந்து தங்க முடியாத ஒரு இடமா மாத்துறது, அததான் வந்து பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. 2010ல எப்ப வந்து அவங்களோட சூட் அவரால் லீகலா எதுவுமே பண்ண முடியலன்னு சொல்லிட்டு 2 வருஷம் ஓடிச்சு. 2 வருஷத்துக்கு அப்புறம் இதுக்கு மேல விக்டரி இதுல தேடவே முடியாது, வரவே முடியாதுங்கிறது லீகலா கிளியரா புரிஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் இந்த மாதிரி அட்டாக்ஸ் எல்லாமே ஆரம்பிச்சாச்சு. எங்க அன்லாஃபுல்லா கூண்டாஸை வச்சுட்டு ரவுண்டீஸை வச்சுட்டு அட்டாக் பண்றது, உடைக்கிறது, சேதாரம் செய்யறது. இங்கெல்லாம் நீங்க வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா நம்மளோட டிவிடிஸ், கேசட்ஸ், புக்ஸ், யந்திரங்கள், பூஜைக்கு தேவையான சாமான்கள் எல்லாத்தையும் அடிச்சு உடைக்கிறது, இந்த மாதிரி டைரக்டா அன்லாஃபுல்லான அட்டாக்ஸ் ஓட ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்காங்க. இதுல இன்னொரு முக்கியமான விஷயம் என்னன்னா, இப்போ அவங்க லோக்கலா இருக்கிறதுனால அவரை வந்து இப்போ இந்த கணேஷ்ங்கிற நபர் வந்து ராஜு கம்யூனிட்டில இருந்து இருக்கிறாங்க. ஸோ அந்த லோக்கல் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸை யூஸ் பண்ணி அவங்களோட ஆள் பலத்தை பணம் பலத்தை காமிக்கிறது. நம்ம வந்து சன்னியாசிகள், நம்ம வந்து மக்களுக்கு சேவை செஞ்சுட்டு இருக்கோம். ஆனா இதை எக்ஸ்ப்ளாய்ட் பண்ணி நம்மள லிட்ரலா 2010ல இருந்து ஆரம்பிச்சு இப்போ வரைக்கும் கண்டினியூஸா லாஸ்ட் 15 இயர்ஸா இல்லீகலா அட்டாக் ஓடிக்கிட்டே இருக்கு. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்குற அட்டாக் வந்து நேத்து முந்தானேத்து ஆரம்பிச்ச அட்டாக் கிடையாது. 2010ல இருந்து ஓடிட்டு இருக்கு இந்த அட்டாக் எல்லாமே. நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா இப்ப நீங்க ஆக்சுவலா ஸ்கிரீன்ல பாக்குறது வந்து லெஃப்ட் சைட்ல வந்து நீங்க பார்க்கலாம் எந்த மாதிரி இருந்திருக்கு, இப்போ எப்படி இருக்கு அப்படின்ட்டு. இதெல்லாம் என்ன நடந்திருக்குன்னா, நம்மளோட இந்த கல்வெட்டு இது டைரக்டா வந்து பகவானே வந்து திறந்து வச்ச அந்த கல்வெட்டு இப்போ பாத்தீங்கன்னா எப்படி இருக்குன்னு உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். என்ன பண்றது என்ன பண்றாங்க அப்படின்னா, இந்த நம்மளோட சொந்த கட்டடங்கள், நம்மளோட சொந்த அமைப்புகள், இது எல்லாமே வந்து நம்மளோட கலர் எல்லாம் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா காவி கலர், அதை வந்து ஃபுல்லா வெள்ளை கல்லில பெயிண்ட் அடிச்சிடுறது, நம்மளோட நேம் போர்டை வந்து அழிச்சிடுறது. இதுல நீங்க பார்க்கலாம் நம்மளோட நேம் போர்டு எல்லாமே அழிச்சிட்டாங்க இதுல சுண்ணாம்பு அடிச்சு. இந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு லெவலா அட்டாக் மேல அட்டாக் நடந்துகிட்டே இருக்கு. அண்ட் கண்டினியூஸா இதேதான் பிரச்சனை ஓடிக்கிட்டே இருக்கு. கண்டினியூஸா இப்படிதான் வந்து நம்மள அட்டாக் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. அண்ட் இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பாக்குறது வந்து இதோட பின் விளைவு, ஒன் ஆஃப் த பேக் எண்ட் ஸ்டோரிஸ், அதுதான் வந்து நம்ம இப்ப பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கோம். அண்ட் லைவ்ல நம்மளோட நேர்கள் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கிறவங்க எல்லாருமே வந்து நீங்க எல்லாருமே புரிஞ்சுக்க வேண்டிய விஷயம் என்னன்னா, இது வந்து நியூஸ்லயோ மீடியாலயோ காமிக்கிற மாதிரி இது வந்து இன்னைக்கு நேத்து நடக்கிற விஷயம் கிடையாது. பிளஸ் பல வருஷங்களா நம்ம வந்து இத சட்டப்பூர்வமாகவும் லீகலாகவும் தார்மீகமாகவும் இது வந்து நம்ம கண்டினியூஸா ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் பண்ணி எஃபர்ட் எடுத்து நம்ம பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். நீங்க இங்க பார்க்கலாம், இப்போ கூட நம்மளோட மக்கள் வந்து எப்படி ஆதீனத்துக்குள்ள நம்மளோட ஆசிரமத்துக்குள்ள வெளியில அவங்கள பூட்டி அண்ட் லோக்கலா இருக்கிற லைட்டு, லோக்கலா இருக்கிற எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி எல்லாத்தையும் வந்து கம்ப்ளீட்டா டெஸ்ட்ராய் பண்ணிடுறாங்க, எல்லாத்தையும் டிஸ்கனெக்ட் பண்ணிடுறாங்க. ஸோ உள்ள வந்து வாழ விடாம இருக்கிறதுக்கான கண்டிஷன்ஸை பண்றது. இங்க நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா லைட்டா இருக்கட்டும், இல்ல எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டியா இருக்கட்டும், ஷார்ட் சர்க்கியூட் பண்ணிடுறது, லைட் எல்லாம் உடைச்சிடுறது, திருடிடுறது. இந்த மாதிரி பண்ணா உள்ள வந்து யாராலையும் தங்க முடியாது அப்படிங்கிற இந்த மாதிரி இல்லீகலான விஷயங்களை யூஸ் பண்ணி அட்டாக் பண்ண ஆரம்பிக்கிறது.
இந்த ஹோல் ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜி நம்ம பார்த்தாலே ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லாஃபேர் எப்படி லீகல் சிஸ்டம இல்லீகலா யூஸ் பண்ணி அட்டாக் பண்றது, அதுதான் அந்த இல்லீகலா அந்த கிஃப்ட் டீட கேன்சல் பண்ண வைக்கிறது. கோர்ட்ல போய் ஒரு சூட்டை போட்டு வேற அப்புறமா வேற வழி இல்லாம வின் பண்ண முடியாதுன்னு சொல்லி கிளியரா தெரிஞ்சவன வித்ட்ரா பண்ணிட்டு ஆனாலும் நிக்காம நெக்ஸ்ட் வந்து பிசிக்கல் அட்டாக்ஸ்க்கு வருது. அங்க இருக்கிறது ஆட்கார வாழ விடாம எப்படி பண்றது, ஒண்ணு அவங்க மேல பிசிக்கல் அட்டாக்ஸ் பண்றது, இன்னொன்னு அவங்களோட இப்போ லேடிஸ் இருந்தா அவங்களோட அந்த மாடஸ்டிய அவுட்ரேஜ் பண்ணி அவங்கள செக்ஷுவலா அசால்ட் பண்றது, இன்னொன்னு இபி கனெக்ட்